Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. It is I, Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. And also, it is Saturday. It's Saturday. It's the PS4 Saturday, and we're playing The Outer Worlds. Hi. So I have so many things to tell you about the journey that I had to get here today, which started years ago, really. It started... I need to mute that. It started a long time ago, when I was a small child. That's actually not true. I wasn't that small, and it didn't start that long ago, but I am going to move this chat here so I can read you here for the moment before we swap over to the big screen. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hey, Lonku. Hey, Josh. Josh Meehan is given very exciting art that you haven't seen yet, but I have seen in progress, and you will all be jealous. You won't be jealous. You'll just be excited when you see it, but it's just that you haven't seen it yet, but I've seen it. Roller says, Troopers never late, just fashionably occupied. So, right. Oh, no, wait, Baron Tour. You have, so this shirt was given to me by Rissa, but you haven't seen all of the shirt. You've only seen the top of the shirt. There is more to the shirt than just this part here. There's this part, which you're not currently seeing, but which you really should see because it's really good. Okay, I'll show you. Are you ready? It's really good. Did you have Falsha Haza or Meme right putting... Okay, check it out. Right, so, save point. Okay, right? Tell me that is not the coolest shirt, right? And that was from Rissa. So, who is actually going to go and have a birthday pretty soon, I believe. So we've got to, like, not today, but soon. Just one more request. Okay, so let me tell you. Oh, should I tell you? Hey, everybody, it's so good to be here. It's so good to be here. I'm so glad to be back on Saturdays. And I feel like we're going to be here. Hey, Ice Funny. Does it say ADHD on the inside, on the back? It probably should. So good. Okay, I want to tell you all of the things that brought me to this moment. Oh, gosh. You ever see one of those movies and, like, you see the person and they're just, like, walking down the street and there's, like, a heist going on and then it's freeze frames and then it goes, let me tell you what brought me to this moment. And then it rewinds and all of a sudden you see them, I don't know, depending on what kind of movie it is, either they're sitting in a high school classroom or like they're sitting at work, something mundane, and you've got to figure out how they got from there to like all the explosions that happens. Okay, this is what we're gonna do, actually. I guess you're wondering how I got here. Thank you. DSP knows. This happens a trope. It happens in movies all the time. I woke up, had some breakfast, got called by a friend, went out for some fresh air, and the next thing I knew, right, and then there's some kind of, yes. Doesn't Guy Ritchie do that? Yes, Guy Ritchie does do that a lot. Also, I have to tell you about, look, I have so much to tell you. Y'all, I have so much to tell you. And also, on Thursday, we didn't actually get to talk about transmasculinity, and maybe we will today. And we're going to play until 3:30. We're going to get 2.5... I like to get 2.5 hours of gaming in. So, you know, we're gonna do that. Also, just so you know, I'm going to bring the game up, is what I'm going to do. Because I feel like if we bring the game up, then we can talk about all the things that are not the game, and then I'll feel less guilty. Those are my thoughts on the matter. I don't know what your thoughts are, but those are mine. And you all should probably be hearing sound in the background, but maybe not too loud. If you do not like your volume, let me know and I can fix it. And I want to tell you about the journey that I've had in this moment, because it's pretty epic. Hail and well met, Voice Games. How are you? Oh, so excited. 80% tangents. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, look, we have to travel from one point to the other point, right? We will get there. And yes, I did want to say I read your tweet on Transmasc and Ratio. It's such a great thread. Oh, thank you, Vulpes, because I actually have some more thoughts about masculinity. Not just trans masculinity, but it's about just general masculinity, but something that you learn as a trans man that that there's a thing I want to talk about. And I think that you'll find it. I don't know if you'll find it interesting, but I feel like I want to tell you. So, I think I'll do it today. Let me know if you think it's too low. Okay, and we're gonna continue. Apologies for looking. Oh, your job's having you work the Easter weekend? Boo! Voice games. Oh my gosh! I had another thought that I wanted to tell you. It was really... Okay, let me tell you now. If it's brown, drink it down is not a good... Okay, first off, if you can see there, it says, if it's brown, drink it down, Rizzo Spectrum Brown. Here's the thing. I grew up in California in the 70s when we had a terrible drought. We've often had droughts in California. But in California, in the 70s, there was this phrase that was advertised everywhere, and it was, if it's mellow, yet let it yellow. No, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, then flush it down. And the whole point was that California's trying to get people not to flush their toilets when it was just pee, just urine, and only flush when there was poo, feces, in the bowl. And so when I see if it's brown, drink it down, I think, oh no! That's what I think. I think, no! Because I remember, I remember. That's what I wanted to say. Oh, hey, look, we're here. And you know how when I end a game, I always like to end the game pointing the direction that I want to go when I start the game up next time, so that I don't forget where I'm going? Look, we're pointing the direction that we need to go right now. So that seems very practical. And now that we're here, I can just tell you something and see what's happening on chat, because I want to make sure I'm all caught up. Can't believe it happens when we do not squirrel, boys, it's so good to have you here. Good volume. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown. Thank you, Baron Tor. See, everybody knows. It's said in rural areas when you run a system. Oh, Baron Tor, that's so cool. So I'm glad that it's not the only place. That is awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it was and is a thing. Brown wine, no. Brown ale, okay, but brown wine, no. I think it's some kind of, well... Oh no, if it's clear, have no fear. Ginger ale? Okay, but wait, if it's clear, have no fear. But what if it's Everclear? Because when I was in the army, there was a lot of drinking of Everclear. I did not necessarily do it myself, but you'd make jungle juice, which was like Everclear and Kool-Aid, I suppose is what that was. And maybe also orange, whatever, like it was Everclear and juices, and that was jungle juice. But I remember one time when all of the soldiers were hanging out, we're having a barbecue, and somebody couldn't get the grill lighted. They couldn't get it lit, and they'd run out of, they didn't have any lighter fluid, so they used Everclear's lighter fluid, and it worked. So I feel like if it's Everclear, maybe have fear. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a maybe. Maybe if it's Everclear, you should also have fear. I'm just saying that is a possibility, Voices, I do appreciate when the devs put in giant chevrons and triangles to inform the player about the golden path. The golden path, which is different from a golden shower. So I don't even know why we've gotten here today. That's all. Jer says, I'm reminded of a Simpsons quote spoofing this phrase. If it's brown, drink it down. If it's black, send it back. Oh my goodness. I suppose that's for beer. Yes. Barator says, Everclear was the wild drink of the 90s. Clear was the trendy thing in the 90s. The Crystal Pepsi. This is true. I have to tell you, clear colas weirded me out. Like, I didn't want to drink something that looked like a Sprite but tasted like a Coke. That weirded me out. I was like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. I didn't like it. I'm just saying. Let me see. Voice says, my friend's review of Everclear was this. I took a shot. The next thing I know, I'm waking up in the next morning at the Paramount lot. This is what I'm saying. I'm feeling like if it's ever clear, have much fear. Uh, Valtiel asks, oh, Valtiel, you have to DM me on Discord. Valtiel, DM me on Discord. Or I'll DM you. We have to DM each other. Because you won the giveaway last night, and I want to ask you what you want. Since you already have a t-shirt, I want to ask if you want a mug or if you want a notebook or a poster. Let me know, and I will get it to you. But you have to message me so I can figure it out. Or, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. And then I can zig ah. Valtiel says, did the army have the Rip It energy drinks when I was in? They did not. When I was in, it was at the very beginning of... Okay, this is a really interesting conversation, and I love it. And I am going to resume the game, talk to this person, and then start walking around and shooting people so we can chat more. That's what we're going to do.
How in the Aether did you get in here? You're not a Rizzo's authorized. Oh, void it all. What does it even matter now? What do you want? Speak up and quickly if you will.
I'm investigating Halcyon Helen's murder. Was she here recently? Also, I'm drinking some strawberry lemonade.
You do know that Halcyon Helen is a fictional character portrayed by the late actress, Ruth Bellamy, yes? One can't be too sure with so many simpletons around in the day-to-day. Regardless, I am not at liberty to divulge such information with non-employees or personnel lacking security clearance level Spectrum Orange. Of course, if you were to say, contract your services to me, I suppose I could grant you clearance enough to answer your murder-related questions, Mr. Inspector. You see, I've found myself in a bit of a pickle. Some of my lab techs have turned rather aggressive following a recent experiment gone awry. Hence why I've barricaded myself in the lab.
Okay, there was a question that was asked from Rissa, which is what happens to a giveaway when somebody doesn't claim it. And I'm going to tell you right now, well, I'm actually vamping because I saw that. By the way, thank you for reminding me. I saw that in chat last night, and I was like, oh, I need to answer that question. But to do that, I remember reading it once, and I actually have to... Oop, wrong. There's an FAQ, and I'm going to look it up, and then I can tell you. Okay. Give me a second. Yes. Okay, so there was a thing. Where was it? Yes. Okay, yeah. Okay, so okay, what's happening right now is I see them, but they were not claimed. No, this one has, okay, so I can see, it's very exciting, whether or not the gift has been redeemed or not. And, and okay, so this is what happens when somebody does it, what I can do is I can redo the giveaway. So it's sitting here waiting for me, like I've got it, it's in a queue is what happens, and all I have to do is just it looks like I can click this. I don't want to click it now. Well, I can click it now. Should I click it now? I'm gonna click it now. Let's do an experiment. We're gonna do an experiment. The experiment is, can I redo? I'm pretty sure I can, right? I'm pretty sure I can just redo it, but I'm going to click this button and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to click this button to see if we can, because Will and TW, who's really amazing, gifted a poster last night, and if you were not there, then you couldn't enter, but I think if I press this button, I can redo the giveaway. Let's see. So just to remind people that need, yes, so you have to type exclamation point, enter. Let's see. And
we're in the money.
yes, that's what happens. I can hit the da da da. So everybody, this is for the Gamblers poster that we're for the show we're running, and it's a really cool poster. The art is done by Void Smoker, and if you type exclamation point enter, you will be entered into this giveaway that came from our amazing Willen TW, who I also need to send him a message to say hey. So it is really cool. You're not interested because I'm a mod, but someone should claim that lovely poster. Good luck to everybody. You've got 2 minutes to do that. And thank you for reminding me. And this is so lovely. Okay, and let me just check. Great. And oh, look at all these things that I've got going on that I can see. This is good stuff to know. This is, by the way, Fourth Wall, which is a one of these, Fourth Wall is like Teespring and all that kind of stuff, but they reached out to me and they said, hey, would you like to use our thing? And I was like, right at the right moment. Look, I've got so many things to tell you. This is outrageous, including about Everclear. Not me, though. I never had Everclear problems, but I was in the military with Everclear people, but also people, it's so nice to have you back here on the Saturday. I mean, it's nice for me to be back on the Saturday. I've been away. I mean, I haven't been away. I've been streaming like a really great Tales from the Brinkwood game, but it meant that I couldn't stream here. And I missed you. So far, very pleased with their service, having received a free t-shirt and a paid mug. So let's see. Also may want to up the time from 3 to 5 to give people time to enter when things are going on. I would love to, but I actually don't have a choice in that matter. 3 minutes is the max. I think that is the longest that I can actually do. And I tried. I was like, can I get longer than 3 minutes? But the answer to that is, I think, no. I tried to go, wait, hold on. Yeah, the max you can do is 180 seconds. That is the max you can do. Nope. That's the max you can do. 180 seconds. That's all they'll give me. And I was like, oh no. That was those are my feelings. Oh. I'm glad a Saturday stream is happening too, because I've got so much to tell you all. And Saturday's a different vibe, and I love it. So let's see. Ooh, okay. Always pumped to have a Saturday stream. They're always so much fun. I am really okay. So super. Did you see Basic Role Playing has a new version coming out with a more open license? Yes, I did. And it's coming out this month, right? Because we saw that tweet last month. So it should be coming out this month at some point. Yes. Oh, Draft Deer! Hey, Draft Deer. That's awesome. Okay. It's already out. Wait, the new one is already out on PDF? Really? I am not, as we are speaking, pulling up an extra tab and looking at it. That is not a thing that I'm doing at this moment to see. Oh, this does look like the new one. Because that is brand new cover art. That's brand new art. Oh, that's very nice art all around, everybody. Uh-huh. Interesting. I'll just leave this tab up right over there is what I'll do. Non-printer later, yeah. I think Chasm's really great about this. Like, if you buy a PDF for something that's not in print yet, it will then get to you, and I've done that with a number of things. I love it when a company will give you both. Again, the reminder is Euro-friendly, so you foreigners should not worry. Yeah. That's the really great thing about Fourth Wall. They're also Euro-friendly. EU-friendly? Yay, good. Oh, all new art. Okay, so there were all these. Oh, we have to go and listen to Dr. Blossom, who wants to be sketchy with us, so that I can then tell you all of the things. Let's see. Let's go and persuade. There isn't anything you can do to help?
Yes. I suppose I should make myself useful. Let me think. Ah, I know. I can remotely unlock the supply closets in the lower levels of the lab. Perhaps you'll find some useful apparatus or two in them.
Well, that's nice. Vulpus is like, I'm just waiting for a trooper setup to start looking like the wall of screens from the Matrix, each one full of tabs. Oh, that's already happening. You don't... I mean, I have 3 different browsers. Safari, where I have all of my academic tabs, some of them going back some time. And then I've got Firefox, which theoretically is supposed to be all of my day-to-day and non-academic tabs, including like streaming research and research about all the things. And then I've got Chrome, which is theoretically supposed to have no tabs open on it for when I'm streaming live, like right now. But then sometimes I've got Chrome open and then I get an idea. It's like, oh, I should look up this thing. And then I pull up all these tabs on Chrome, and then I have too many tabs on Chrome as well. But, you know, it is a thing that happens. Yeah. But you haven't added more monitors. It's true, I do. I only have 3 monitors, and I should have... Okay, so I don't have the space for it right now, really, logistically. But from my setup, I've got my main computer monitor here, and I have 2 monitors here, one above the other. If I had 2 monitors here, then I'd have 5 monitors, and it would be symmetrical. I do not know what I would do with 5 monitors, because I don't think I need them. But if I did, it would be symmetrical, and that's probably a good thing. So, okay, I'm going to just tell you right now the things we have to talk about in order. Everclear, catch up on chat. Then I need to talk about the epic madness that was the setup for today, which has been going on for a bit. And then I want to talk to you about insights about my audio issues on The Gambler, which was 2 weeks in a row, and how there was no problem at all last night afterwards. And then transmasculinity, which is really about masculinity, but things that a thing. Okay, those are all the things. But didn't see any hostiles on the way here from the entry door. You can make a run for it. What goes on in these labs that would turn your researchers against you? Yeah. What goes on in these labs that would turn your researchers against you?
Oh no. They're quite unaware of their actions, I'm afraid.
Oh.
We're a research and development branch of Rizzo's, focused primarily on the Spectrum vodka line. But the specific research that goes on in this facility is utterly confidential. You understand?
Right, but I'll find out when I hump through the labs. You might as well tell me up front.
So you've no qualms about snooping through my precious research files?
Yep.
But will you understand the data once you've acquired it?
Yep.
Essentially, we research new innovations for an array of Rizzo's products. My present troubles stem from one we've just developed. The product's potential for profit is nearly limitless. But I'm afraid explaining the science behind it would far exceed your capability for understanding.
Also, I want to talk to you about work and capitalism and TikTok. Okay, don't let me forget to tell you about that, because I saw a tweet that was quoting a TikTok, and it seemed super progressive. I was like, hold on a second. And I feel like some of you would want to hear my thought on that one, because I thought you might find it interesting. Those are all things. Time of Gift says, Troopers, SRP's laws. Ideas increase to fill the number of browsers available and always have characters over-encumbered. Okay, over-encumbrance is one of the things I want to talk to you about my streaming setup today, about how over-encumbrance saved me today. Ice Bunny says, Trooper, and then you have to get 4 new eyeballs, too, to be able to keep an eye on every monitor and one at the back to watch the time passing. Yes. Yes. Okay, so I as long as we have the TikTok capital is like number 6, right? But I got to tell you that one because it's going to be a take that seems we'll talk about it.
Now,
right?
Was there anything else?
I didn't see any hostiles on the way from here to the entry door. You could make a run for it.
And lose my life's work? Want me to just burn my lab and my entire future to the ground over one experiment that's gotten rather out of hand? No, I think not. We merely need to clean up the mess, so to speak. Reset the lab back to functional parameters.
Clean up? They were human beings. Don't you care about them at all?
Oh,
Cells can be replaced, you know.
I have Parvati
Research
here.
data? Now that's invaluable.
So here's the thing. I think she wants me to murder a lot of people. I don't think Parvati would like me to murder a lot of people. We're in a bit of a pickle. I don't want to accept this mission with Parvati here because I think it'll upset her, which would be bad. Maybe there should be a Tangent Tuesday. Well, oh, I had another thought, by the way. I had a thought, which I don't know if it's possible or doable, but I had a thought, and I might need guinea pigs in the coming future. Trooper eats encumbrance and speed limits. Their suggestion more than anything else. Yeah, I do treat them like that. It's true, actually. PH says, murder a lot of people? RPG protagonists would never do that. No, it's always self-defense. Not people, Philistines that disagree with their work. That's true. So here's the thing. I don't think I can agree with her. Yeah. Oh, I'm not about to step in. We're not going to take this mission.
Wait. You can't leave me here. What am I supposed to do? Execute my subordinates myself? How
Wow.
uncouth.
Wow. Really? Wow. Okay, well, here's the thing. I can remember my controls, it's true. Yeah, I don't think we are going to help her murder people. Now, let's be realistic here. Realistically, we're probably going to have to murder a lot of people because they probably are all insane or about to try to murder us. But we don't have to make it easy. You know what I mean? Let's repair all of our equipment. And we'll accept that. And let's also eat some food because it turns out we're apparently needing to eat food. That's a thing that apparently happens, which I feel like is kind of rude. And we have got some pre-sliced bread, which we will eat. I would like to note that we are under encumbrance. So you should be very proud. That is a thing. We're going to just save. Just get a little bit of a save going on. And then we're going to resume, but I need to catch up on chat. Also, we're going to just say no on that mission, right? That's what we're going to do. We're going to say no on that mission. Okay. I need to find Everclear, and then I can get us caught up. Rip It energy drinks. No, when I was in the Army, it was the very beginning of the energy drink phase. Post-Jolt, but it was the only energy drink that had come out in the United States at that point in time was Red Bull. But in Europe, when I was in Germany, there were other energy drinks that had come out, even though in the US we only had Red Bull. But there weren't that many. There was basically the second energy drink that was out that you could get in Europe, but not in the United States, was called Bullet. And it was really, really good. The first formula of Bullet was so delicious because it actually had a flavor that was something you could identify. Red Bull, I don't know what that flavor is. I don't know what it's, I suppose it's Red Bull flavor, but it is not something that occurs in nature. But Bullet was something like some kind of berry flavor. And it was really good. But then I think it stopped existing, or they changed the formula. But that was the it's battery acid. And then Ice was like, it's dead gummy bears. And people are like, what were energy drinks in Germany? Yeah, it was a Red Bull is taurine flavor. Subconsciously, after hearing about this mission, the character reaches for Cockney rhyming. Sliced bread, dead. Red Bull, if Jolly Ranchers could go rancid and then you mix with turpentine. Right, but Bullet tasted really delish. But then I don't think they had it. So that's the one I was having in Germany all the time. So let's see. Vulpes says, I grew up with river water, Everclear, and cranberry juice. It's very hard for the kids, he's just saying. But it sounds delicious. Right? Vola says, Everclear vodka and sports drinks mix were common in the early 90s among soldiers. Yes, it was. Yeah. Volus, Yes, it might not have been. It probably. You're right. It probably wasn't Kool-Aid. It was probably sports drinks, energy drinks. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I have more things to tell you all about alcohol. It's I was looking up things and also cologne. Alcohol of the 80s, 90s in the military and cologne. Barentor says, Rip It came later, but there were those yellow jacket caffeine pills. Oh, I took a caffeine pill once when I was in the army. Because I had to be up for like 48 hours in a row because we were in the middle of like some serious stuff. And I had to write reports that went to the Pentagon. And it was like, I had to pull like 2 all-nighters in a row. So, and all of my colleagues were like, "Oh, we're just drinking coffee," and I was like, "Oh, but I hate coffee." It's like, "Oh, well, I'll take a caffeine pill because that's like drinking coffee. That's what the box says." And then I had a caffeine pill, and I did not like it. Did not like it. Um, I did not like the feeling of having a lot of stimulants in my body because I was shaky. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I did not like that feeling. I was like, "Oh, I don't like this." So anyway, I took caffeine pills once, just like that woman from Saved by the Bell, right? I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. I wasn't scared. I just didn't like the feeling. Didn't like it, so I didn't do it again. Just, and I know that what's interesting to me, this is like philosophical, right? I've talked to DSP about this. I think what's interesting is that I know people who would take a caffeine pill and they love that feeling. They're like, yes, that feeling's the best feeling. And I was like, "Ooh, I don't like that feeling." And it was the same, actually, by the way, with dipping tobacco, right? You know, you get the like Red Man or Skull, right? And dipping tobacco is not chewing tobacco. Chewing tobacco is less finely ground, looks more like tobacco, and you put it in the side of your mouth. And dipping tobacco is like it's much more finely ground, and you put it in the right down there, right in here. And I did dipping tobacco once, and I immediately got like dizzy, like this kind of head rush sort of a situation. And I was like, "Oh, I do not like this." And everyone's like, "Yeah, that feeling, isn't that feeling great?" I was like, "No, I do not like this feeling. I do not like the feeling." And then I started feeling nauseated. I did not like that feeling of like all that nicotine just like hitting my bloodstream. I didn't like it. And I just think it's kind of interesting that there are these things that people like, and we both feel those things, but they like it, and I do not like it. Don't like it. I just think that's interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like I just think it's interesting. Uh, yes, yes, yes. It's a thing that I've long thought about, right? It's okay for me. If in case you want to know, uh, it is for me related to. I need to have. You know what I need to do? I wonder if I can do this. I'm gonna experiment with something, everybody, but I need my cursor. I want to find out if I can bring up the chat tab twice. Because if I could bring out the chat tab twice, oh, I can. Oh, this is perfect. Y'all, our world has just changed. I can have the chat tab up in two separate instances, which means I can have one chat tab that is currently current and one that's at the last place where I was reading. So I can have it twice. And I'm very excited about this. Uh, Max Rider, I may be winning. And I think Krellin, it might end well. Let's see. Josh says caffeine pills just hit different. Yeah. Roller's like concerned. Uh, that is called Hocus Pocus, Trooper Can Focus. Axe says caffeine pills give me the jitters. Yeah, I didn't like it. Made me feel intensely anxious and irritable. Then I feel sick. I didn't feel anxious, but I didn't like the way my body was reacting. You know. Berentor says chewing tobacco is sold in bricks. You pick at dipping cans. Yeah, and I always usually get. I didn't get chewing tobacco in bricks. I got it in pouches, right? Like Lancaster was the chewing tobacco that I would chew. Lancaster is steeped in honey, so it's not bitter. So that was better. I didn't like the other ones, but that one I liked. Um, Vulpus says it's the shot of stimulant. Yeah, I don't like that stimulant effect. Axe says plus I'm unable to focus when I'm on caffeine pills. Yeah, I did not like it. Didn't Axe couldn't. Yeah, I didn't like it. I was like, no, I don't like this. Berentor says I would chew tobacco only when I was out in the desert when I was in the military. Was not a good thing I should have done. I shouldn't have done. So I have thought about that. Vulpus says it's why some people like cocaine. Some like that heart race feeling. Right. I don't think I would. I've never had cocaine, but I don't think I'd like it. Do you know what I mean? When I hear people describe, I've heard people who have taken cocaine who like cocaine, who also are addicted to cocaine, but they're no longer taking cocaine because they're in recovery, they're sober. But they talked about what they liked about cocaine, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'd like any of those things. Do you know what I mean? I always think that was kind of interesting, and I've talked to DSB about this, right? About how I've talked to, oh, it's the same thing with opiates. I know that opiates are very addictive, and I know that, like, I was talking to somebody who was also addicted to opiates, and they were like, because I was, okay, look, I've had major surgeries, right? And when you have major surgeries, they give you morphine and heavy duty opiates. And I've had those heavy duty opiates, and I do not like the feeling. Like, I remember being on them, and I remember thinking, I do not like this feeling. And I've talked to other people, and when they describe being on opiates, they described the exact same feeling that I had, but they liked it. And they were like, oh, yeah. And they also became addicted to opiates, right? And they're also now sober. And it's one of those things I really think about. Like, I do not like, I remember, like, when I was on the morphine, I was like, oh, no, no, I don't like this at all. And I imagine it must be physiological. I don't know, right? It could be psychological. I don't know what it is, but I did not like it. And I just think it's fascinating, right? That it's like, I also don't enjoy being drunk. I don't mind being buzzed, like having a drink or two, that's fine. But I've only been super drunk, like only a couple times in my life, accidentally mostly. Mostly because it was a combination of being at some kind of army bar where the bartender did not water down the drinks in the way that they normally do, and I hadn't eaten enough. And that combination, I did not realize was happening, and so I had like my 3 drinks or whatever it was, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm drunk now," or 4, whatever it was. But the point was, I've only been really drunk like that one time in one time in Korea. That one time in Korea, I was really drunk, and this one time in Germany, and this one time uh, in upstate New York. So I think 3 times, maybe 4, but there are 3 times I can remember where I was really drunk and I did not like it. I was like, I do not like this. I don't like it. So that's just, like, for me, that's just kind of interesting, right? Because I know that there's psychologies to all these things, right? And I don't know what it is. It's like, do we both see the same color red? This is the kind of conversation I'm having right now with you. Yeah. Um, yes. I'm still catching up. Uh, so Tangents just leveled up big time. I lost 1 and 1 in the hunt this afternoon. Weird. What you need is a 5th monitor. Ice says that is the normal reaction when you do snuff for the first time. I've also done snuff. It is said you cannot drive a car the first time when you get used to stuff. It's not that intense a hit. I know folks from Sweden and Norway. Baron knows Lancaster. Nice. Please. Oh, Max Ryder. I will explain my relationship to tobacco. You had Red Man chewing tobacco. I had Lancaster. Lonku says, being aware of losing control is not an... Yes, Lonku, that's what it is. I feel like I like to be in control of my body. I think this is ultimately what it comes down to, is that I like to be aware of my surroundings and in control of my body, and I do not like things that impede that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm also a very aware person. And so when I am not in control of my body, I'm aware of not being in control of my body. And I don't like it. I just don't like it. Yeah. Lone Coup, yes. Volpa says, you also have a different vision about the state of your body and knowing what now. Yes. I'm very, yes. 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 Yes, Volpas. That one time in Korea sounds like a 70s noir film or an 80s action comedy. Right? Baron Trust says, I had a problem with drinking in the military and I'm glad I left it behind. Ice Bunny says, getting drunk is not so bad. The hangover the next day sucks and a waste of lifetime. I actually have almost never had a hangover. The only time I've had a hangover were those 3 times that I got really, really, really drunk. I've never been blackout drunk. But what I didn't like about those 3 times I was drunk was that the world started spinning and I could not stop it from spinning, and I did not like that. Didn't like it. I was like, nope, I don't like this. I don't like when the world is spinning and I don't have I can't stop that from happening. I didn't like it. Not my joy. Chameleon says, Chromatic Chameleon, hey, how are you? I usually get drunk due to being around bad influences, but they are fun. I don't mind being buzzed or tipsy, but I don't like being drunk. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it gets to the moment where the world starts spinning, I don't like it. Max says, Sons of Singularity just released their new Kickstarter. The Blessed and the Blasphemous is Call of Cthulhu set in North Africa at the onset of World War II. What? Hold on. The Blessed and the... I'm pulling up a new tab. Also, actually, just could you drop the tab in chat? In Discord, in the Discord, because that is a thing that I clearly am going to want to find, because that sounds right up my alley. Do you know what I mean? That sounds like a trooper thing. Not only because it's Call of Cthulhu, but all of that together. Let's see. I got drunk the first time at a wedding when I was 14 or 15. Snuck champagne, did not care for the feeling at the time. I grew into it in college. I got drunk the very first time when I was 3 years old. That's a story. And then I did not drink at all until I was 18. And I did not realize I was drinking alcohol at that time because somebody was messing with me, kind of. Because they thought it'd be good for me to get drunk. Whole other story. Oh, that's the fourth time I got really drunk. That's the fourth time I got really drunk. And that was a whole moment. And then I have been drinking alcohol on and off since then. Like, I don't drink it often because I don't drink it at home for the most part. Because I don't like beer. So for the most part, when I was in the military or in places where people are partying, they're usually going to be drinking beer, and I don't like beer because I'm a super taster and beer is too bitter. So generally speaking, when I go off to these places where people are partying or whatever, if we're not at a restaurant or something, they're going to be drinking things that I'm not going to enjoy, so then I don't drink. And when I go to like bars, the things I do like usually are frozen with umbrellas in them, and those are like really expensive. And I was like, why would I spend $15 on that when I can just have like a cola? And I was a grad student and made $17,000 a year. So there was like, so many people think that I don't drink alcohol, like that I just don't drink it, but that's not true. I will have a Maduri daiquiri, absolutely. It's just that how often do you have a chance to get a Maduri daiquiri? Do you know what I mean? I just don't get drunk. I know, I'm not into it. Yeah. So they did that Indochina book that was excellent. This is very exciting. Yes, put it in the, and if they have like a company website, put that in the Discord as well. Scabby Neck says, I black out from drinking pretty readily. I'm just careful about not drinking too much now, which mostly involves staying away from liquor. Oh, I can have like a drink or two. I just don't often. Bulpus says, be glad. I've been blackout drunk once, and that's pretty much why I don't drink anymore, and that was 30 plus years ago. No, Crown, I've totally played. I have absolutely played today. It's just that I was catching up on chat. But I have absolutely 100% played. I talked to this sketchy woman who wants me to like murder her people for her subordinates. Super sketch. And we're going to wander around right now, as a matter of fact, and just go over and pick up boxes. That's what we're doing. But really, what we're doing is I'm checking chat. New season of Fate Resistance intensifies. I'm just saying. Thank you for dropping that link. Beer is an acquired taste. I'm a super taster, Max Writer, so things that are bitter for other people are super bitter for me. So I can't do like dark chocolate. I can't do beer. I can't do a bunch of vegetables. Yeah, a bunch of that stuff is just not tasty. Yeah. Let's see. The link between being drunk and dubious consent will ruin the experience. Yeah, that too. Ooh, yes, Max Writer, put it in tabletop musings, please. Thank you. Let's see. I did start it with theories. This is true. I did start it. She said the quiet part out loud. Carla, she didn't want to kill her subordinates herself. Yeah. So let me see if, really quickly, I want to see if there's anything that I can sell that will be useful. Oh, hey. Cow milk. It's kind of pricey. I feel like I've got enough food that I don't really need to buy the food. So let me just see if there's anything that I can sell. I've got some weapons that I probably don't need, but I'm gonna keep that. What is this? This is like a level 32, so I'll keep that. This seems exciting. Anything that's 30 and under, we're gonna sell, but I know I said I was going to sell those, but I'm not, because I'm going to dismantle them because I think I might be able to get, stuff out of it. Yeah, I don't actually think there's any kind of... I think I've cleared out my inventory pretty well, so I don't think I have anything to sell at the moment. But I might have junk to sell, right? I don't. Look at me! I'm super, super unencumbered. I'm doing so well. Also, can I just break into her It's sealed. It's fine. It's fine. We are going to go... This is where we came in. We came in here. I'm orienting myself. We came in here. We dealt with dead people. She's over there. I feel like we probably haven't been to these doors. Is my guess. Everything is sealed. Is she not going to let us through unless we help her? I believe we actually already read that. So here's the deal. I'm not certain we can move through this building unless we say we'll help her. I suppose we could say we'll help her, but then lie and not help her. I mean, we could do that, because what if... Although she did say that she would unseal some closet doors, right? Y'all, I think we have to talk to her and say yes. Okay, Pavarti, this is just strategic. We're not going to actually really help her. We're just going to say we're going to help her.
Decided to help me, have you? Or do you just fancy gazing at me through the glass? Remember, my lab techs have turned quite frenzied following a unsuccessful experiment. It's making them quite violent.
Yeah. Clear up this mess, the mess will kill her, Time of Gift says, yep. Ice Bunny says, I bought my first alcohol when I was 14. We had a kiosk who did not care about the laws. So my friend and I had the strawberry champagne at her place, and her mom busted us, as a punishment to maybe drink 2 cups of black coffee. But aren't people able to drink in Europe super young? Beer usually makes me sick as Roller 300, yet I took a chance on an organic beer. It felt more like apple cider. Nice. I will drink an apple cider. Max says, yeah, you might simply be a more cider person. I am. And actually, ciders were not popular in the past, but now ciders have become popular. So if I go out to a bar, there is something I can drink now that's sort of chill, like a cider. So that's okay. But Max does not like alcoholic ciders, but does like chocolate stouts and porters. Interesting. Why do you not care for ciders? Tell me. Baltio says, look for things that aren't nailed down. That's how I know we haven't been there yet. Yes, that's true. Max says, I went all in on the new Kickstarter. I didn't do that with the Journal of Daniel Sheen and regretted it. Had to get the Keeper screen later. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go in all in, aren't I? All right. The seducer. I don't know. She doesn't look seducible. Parvati can't actually hear me? Maybe. Oh no. If you say we'll help her kill her, those people will attack you, so you will be killing for her. Baron says, I like cider. There is a meadery opening up here too. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, I prefer high cider over beer. So, we're gonna...
Excellent. You have my gratitude, and soon you'll have my knowledge of Miss Bellamy's recent visit as well. Now, if you'd rather not kill my lab techs during this cleanup,
I'd rather not.
I believe you can dispense a sedative gas from a terminal in the utility room.
That would be
Still
excellent.
A fan of the way she talks about her workers.
I know.
I say, we prove her wrong and find a way to save these people.
Yes.
Door to the lower labs.
Let's do that.
For our safety, so you'll need to take the elevator down. I'll unseal the access hallway for you now. Do take care.
Okay. We are going to try to save... No, I'm not pointing a weapon at you. Sorry, let me put my weapon away. I'm going to see if we can save these people. By the way, oh, look, she opened the door. Side note, I always feel a little bit weird just with my gun out when I'm talking to people. It feels hostile. It also feels like really bad weapons, firearm security. Do you know what I mean? And so I like it when a game allows me to perhaps not point a weapon at people all the time. That looks bad. Doesn't look great, everyone. Let's use this terminal and catch up on chat. I've got 2 chats right now. Yeah, I doubt Rizzo manufactures anything we like. This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I spent 16 for beer and wine, 18 for the rest. 21 is way too old to be a drinking newbie. You know, we were founded by Puritans. Max Predator says, I like real cider, but alcoholic ciders just don't taste very good to me. I have no idea why. That's really interesting to me. I'm always interested in that, right? Like why something that I might like like, what is it? Like, do you just not like the taste? Or is there something like in your mouth itself, in your taste buds? I'm interested in that. There was an apple beer that looked good a few years ago, but I couldn't even finish one bottle. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm going to try to save these people, by the way. DSB says, I don't like any alcoholic drink. Alcohol tastes super bitter to me, and I can taste it in almost anything. I've found so far, except the really fruity ones that taste like juice, and even those I can tell there's alcohol from the mouthfeel, not just the taste. Volpa says, I like ciders, but I can't stand mead. All I've tried has been too sweet and medicinal. I need to try mead. I need to do that, see what it's like. Also, tobacco. I'll tell you about the tobacco. I have no tobacco to try, but let me tell you about it. Seltzers are getting popular. And Max was like, yeah, it's bad weapon safety. It's bad weapon safety. PH is like, I'm sure the safety on. Maybe. I don't know. I just feel like, part of me feels like there are no safeties in this universe because they probably feel like adding safeties to weapons are just it's too expensive and they don't care. And if you kill someone accidentally, they fine you. This is how I feel like. This is what I feel. And the apple beer thing was crap. Oh, I've never had one. Chromatic says, my favorite place to eat and have a beer after work is a German bakery. Ooh. The only place that opens in the early mornings when I get off work. Oh, that's so interesting because back in the day, there were beers. I just remember all the neighborhood bars were always open at like 9 in the morning when I was a kid. Scabby Neck says, something tells me they don't overly emphasize the 4 rules of gun safety in this universe. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Thank you, Scabby Neck. You know where I'm going. Volus says, long drink, tentacle, grapefruit alcohol is good. Oh, I should try that. Josh Meehan says, apple ciders are so good. I found that there are genetics that make it so IPA tastes like soap. Max does not like IPAs, too bitter. And Josh says, similar to how cilantro can taste like soap. So that's really interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Look, I'm really interested in flavors because Krellin said about how banana candy tastes like a banana that doesn't exist anymore, that has gone dead. And so we don't think it tastes like banana, but it does. That was really interesting. So there are all these like kind of cool flavor things. I'm just interested in stuff. Employee notification terminal. Hello, everyone. This is your friendly custodial staff offering a preemptive apology if the elevator hall is crowded with gas canisters. There are quite a few of them and only one of me, so I'm moving them in loads down to the utility room. Do be cautious. They're filled with a sedative potent enough to put a hungry mama wrapped on out cold. Thank you for understanding. After work bar meetup. Dear esteemed colleagues, my team and I are all heading to the Grand Colonial's bar this evening for some drinking and fellowship. All real scientists are welcome to join us. You know, the ones that produce quantifiable data and theorems and don't spend their time jabbering over how this lighting on this bottle will increase customer sentiment. Cheers from some who understands that market researchers aren't real scientists. Wow. That's some passive-aggressive shade. Because you know that market researchers are reading this memo, somebody's not particularly very nice. And I probably has not made friends with the market research team, is all I'm saying. Like, maybe you think it, maybe you don't say it out loud to the market researchers. That's just rude. Increased protective measures. Team, as we continue our new round of research and product development, I'm increasingly required safety gear for lab workers involved. As some of you know, a few recent accidents involving subjects have left workers maimed, scarred, and one worker had their left hand permanently discolored to a shade of lime green. RISA's Research and Development District Labs is expected to continuously produce revolutionary advancements in the food and beverage industry. These measures will help us in further pursuit of that mission. I don't really think I like her. You know what I'm saying? So let's save these workers. Never point a weapon at something you don't intend to shoot, says Barantor, and that is correct. Josh Meanart says, funny too how choice of drink is tied to ideas of masculinity and femininity. Now you've distracted me, Josh, with a really interesting, terribly sad article that I'm going to tell you about right now. Somebody has a list of the things I want to talk about, so we'll get there. Lonku says, I don't like the taste of alcohol itself that much. I do drink non-alcoholic beer. The bitterness I enjoy. Oh, that's interesting. Max says, what about butterscotch schnapps? It's like drinking a piece of candy. That's good. Max says, crap, we're supposed to do shots every time we die and hunt tonight. I feel like I'm going to get very, very drunk. Just don't die. I feel like that's easy, right? Just don't die. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, wrong button. Also, I kind of feel like maybe I just need to actually have a gun out right now because I feel like there are people who might try to shoot me and also have been chatting, so I need to eat more food. So, there. Also. Wait. Skeptics is passive-aggressive. That's regular aggressive. Okay, that's actually fair. That's fair. Bola says, Big Mike banana is the long dead banana due to mold and other disease. Cavendish is the current on sale banana. Oh, thank you. DSB says, speaking of flavors that don't taste like their thing, American grape flavor actually does taste like grapes, not table grapes, but Concord grapes that are generally not eaten as grapes, but processed into things. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Ice Bunny says, we Danes are the biggest drunkards in Scandinavia because we can go into Germany and fill the car in the border shops. Someday I'll go up to film it out. But wait a minute, that would mean if the beer is cheaper in Germany, then you would think that Germans would be the bigger drunks because their beer is cheaper. Although I'll tell you what, I lived in Germany for 5 years, and I'm not saying everybody la-di-da-di, but I knew a lot of Germans. How do I put this? I had some German friends tell me, also tell me that only Americans are alcoholics, and that alcoholism is not a problem in Europe. And I thought that was interesting because I knew many people who drank every day 3 liters of beer, and that was when they were not drinking. Do you know what I mean? Like they would have like a liter of beer at lunch, at their lunch break at work, and they usually have like 2, like one after work and then another one. So like 3 liters of beer every work day, and then on the weekends usually more. But they did not have alcoholism in Germany, and I thought that was an interesting take. And then I had British friends who were like, yeah, we don't have alcoholism in the UK either. And I was like, that's... And then I knew some French people like, yeah, we don't have alcoholism in France. Alcoholism is only an American thing. Oh, you Americans with your alcoholism. And I was like, okay, sure, all right. You don't have alcoholism in Europe. I just think that maybe we talk about it in the US a lot more. This was also the 90s, that the discourse might have changed in Europe since then. But I just thought that was hilarious because I was like, oh, my friends, come on now. Relationship with tobacco. Yes. Market researchers, who'd want to be friends with them? I bet they have funny stories. Time of Gift says, about 10 years ago, a new cider launched in Ireland was a huge marketing campaign, still ongoing, but I found it too thin and fizzy. A case of Lice video she made about the song, and Poppy's like, yeah. Max is like, it's hard for me not to die in Hunt. I'm so bad. Rose like, seize the means of production! Also, I love that gif. It's so good. Baron says, I know I chewed because the desert sucks and it lasts longer than chewing gum. Tobacco. Dying means you lose, so dead people are losers. Brought to you by Poor Logic. Yeah. Vilpa says, I think Trooper has interesting relationships with many non-sentient things. I think that's true, too. Scabby Neck says, yeah, I heard that in Germany from very drunk people. Scabby Neck, they were also very drunk when they said it. Like, I had a bunch of football, soccer-playing friends, and they made these claims about there not being alcoholics in Germany. And I was like, yeah, but my friend, when you're not drinking alcohol because you don't want to drink alcohol because you're going to drive or it's really hot, you drink a Radler, and a Radler is still beer. It's just that instead of a full liter of beer, you have a half a liter of beer and a half a liter of Sprite. But that's still drinking beer, you know. But they're like, no, a Radler is like really refreshing. It's what you drink when it's a hot summer day or when you're driving. It's basically not drinking at all. It's like, it's a half liter. Okay, that's cool. Half liter beer, though. Enjoy that. Yeah. Only Americans are alcoholics. Alcoholism is not a problem for Europe. Max is like, nope. I'm just saying, people told me that all the time. Blue Pointer says, my mom says that too, but she is an alcoholic. Blue Pointer, I'm just saying that maybe some of the people saying that, again, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. You all know what I'm saying. Lunku, alcohol is not a problem in Europe is a problematic statement. I know. Also, it's told in Germany that beer is liquid bread, right? And that everybody should have access to it. So, Volpa says, but we Europeans can handle alcohol, unlike Americans. That is the story, right? Denial isn't just a river in Egypt, says Max Ryder, which I love. Scabby Neck says, I'm not an alcoholic, but I opened this vodka bottle and I don't want it, and I don't want it to go bad. Right? Yes. And Lunko's like, no, we can't handle alcohol. I know, it's so, yeah. Max Ryder says, I'm a social drinker, but I don't such as much. So, Max Ryder, this is the case. This is the case with me. Social drinkers may have died on thirst between 2019 and 2022. Yes. Lunko says, I don't have problems with alcohol. I have problems without it. I have a great German phrase here that I will say. Max says, I drink when I run online tabletop games or stream too. I never drink when I stream. Actually, I never drink when I play or run RPGs because I want to be completely... This is why I think I don't like a lot of perception or body altering things. I like to be on top of things. You know what I mean? PH says, drinking a lot or being drunk doesn't mean you're an alcoholic. It's the addiction and the damage to yourself and your surroundings that does that, I think, right? Max says correct, but Topic is like, Irishman shuffles and looks at his feet. It's interesting, though, because there are people who would say, okay, I am not going to totally dive into this topic, but I will say this. In the United States, especially, there are interesting discords about what addiction is. There is a model of addiction that says addiction is when you are physically addicted to a thing, right? Like, if you are physically addicted to alcohol, right, then you have an addiction. Some people will then add psychological dependency. Some people think that that's not an addiction, that that's something different. Some people say it is. So there's like the debate about whether or not something has to be physiological or whether or not it can also be sociological. And then there's this other model of addiction, which is if it causes problems, then it's an addiction, right? So like if you are neither physiologically nor if you're neither physiologically nor psychologically addicted to a thing, oh no! Ah! Excuse me. Hi. How are you? Hi. I didn't want to kill any of those people. Our quest just updated. Hey. Okay. What does this say? So some people would say if when you drink you cause trouble, then it's an addiction. Like anytime, like if your drinking results in you behaving badly, then it's an addiction. Other people would say if you drink one drink every day, then it's an addiction. Like there are a lot of, I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of really different ideas of how people are defining addictions. And then we have this moment where celebrities will say something really homophobic and then go into rehab for homophobia, except that I do not think that homophobia is an addiction. So I will say, in defense of my European friends, America has some kind of complicated and mixed message ideas about what addiction is that are contradictory, and I do not have an opinion on it other than like I notice that there's a wide variety of discourse on that matter is what I'm gonna say. Let's see. Rissa says, also a social drinker, living with a non-drinker. I have several liquors in my closet that I haven't touched since 2 moves ago, aka 9 years ago. That tends to be the case with me as well. Volpa says, next you're going to say Russians are wrong feeding kvass to their children, barely drink only 3% alcohol. Yeah, right? Max says, I don't have a beer or two while running. I'll destroy my throat, yeah. Oh, if you don't have a beer or two while running. The alcohol helps relax my throat. I do a lot of voices and talk a lot. Let's keep moving. Max says, Rissa, we have a fully stocked liquor cabinet and got even more when my uncle died. Some of it is 10 to 20 years old. Yeah, that happens with me. I thought addiction was either psychological or physiological or both. I just think it's actually really unclear, right? That's what I think. People say different things. Well, they were serious about not wanting to kill them. Yeah. Look at them not swinging their weapons and not beating them to death. I felt, yeah, look at them. I didn't do it. Who's the one to define what is trouble? Vulpus, that's another question. Who's to define what is trouble, right? Rehab for homophobia. Yeah, there were a couple of celebrities that said homophobic things and got in trouble for it, so then they went to rehab to get over their homophobia, and I was like, okay, that's weird. That sounds like a PR move to me. Yeah, rehab is for the drink drugs that made them say the quiet parts out loud. Yeah. Wait, what is the link between No, there were a couple of actors that it came out, they said some homophobic, like there was this one actor, he was on Grey's Anatomy, he was homophobically harassing this other actor fairly regularly, and then it came out, and then he got fired, and so then he went to rehab. So he did not say it was for alcohol or drugs. He said he never admitted to an alcohol or drug problem. He admitted to a homophobia problem, so he went to rehab, I think to rehabilitate his PR so he could get more work is I think what happened. But yeah, I can't remember what his name was, but there was a whole thing about that, and I was like, that's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. And a couple of other celebrities who got caught saying some pretty awful things out loud multiple times have also done that, and I was like, okay, sounds like a stunt, but all right. Yeah, it's the guilt. It's the bad image, Max Writer. Yep. Yep, and it's also the publicist. Because rehabs is what famous people do when you do something bad if you want to be totally forgiven in a month. Yep. I don't think Mel Gibson, I don't know if he went to rehab or not, but he wasn't one of the people who went to rehab for homophobia. I try to make me go to rehab, and I say, no, no, no. The Grey's Anatomy actor now acts in far-right movies and shows like God is Not Dead. Oh, wow, PH. Jared says, yeah, but yeah, there are different definitions of addiction based around which part of academia you're talking about, and even non-academic. Yeah, and I just find that interesting. So, okay, I just have noticed something in our journal. It says, Dr. Blossom explained that some of the workers in the lab became suddenly violent and asked that you kill them or otherwise pacify them. She directed you to a terminal in the utility room that could diverse a sedative gas and knock them out if you're inclined to spare their lives, which I am. But then it says, as usual, violence remains a constant solution, enemies remaining 9. So we have a countdown of how many people are left, and I do not want to kill them, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would like to save them, but I will take all of the stuff that was on their bodies. I just wanted to, like, pick up the ammo. You know what I'm saying? That's all I wanted. I didn't want to kill anybody. It's fine, I suppose. I just want... I also want to figure out what was the... Nope, that wasn't it. Nope. What was the button for... There is a way to crouch, and I forgot what it was. Oh! Wrong button! That wasn't it. Okay. What's this one do? Wrong button. No. It's not that one. It's that one. I found it. I found the button. I pressed some wrong buttons, but I solved the problem now. Gotta have... It's X? No. O? No. Yes. O. O is my button, everyone. Just wasted some good drugs. Yeah. The radical resort vault. Mel Gibson is an addict, and I think he should go to rehab. But he was not one of those people who famously like went to rehab for like racism or homophobia, and framed it as going to rehab for racism or homophobia, which I think is just pretty weird. Also, I really would like to know where this utility situation is, and if it's here, because if it is, we might be able to just pick up more food, because I'm apparently addicted to food, and then solve this problem without killing more people, because I would really like to solve this problem without killing more people. That would be ace. That would be grand, is what it would be. I'm gonna just take all this food while we're chatting. Wait, additional dogs at the top of the punches. No, you're right. I actually do have I want to talk about tobacco. I did not find the terminal yet. It's somewhere around here, and I hope that we can get there without running into a lot of people and murdering them, is my goal. Is my hope. You know, I keep picking up alcohol. You know, I don't know why I pick up cigarettes in this game, because I never actually consume them. Because they're not good for your health. Do you know what I mean? But on the other hand, I might be able to sell them for money, and I do need money. Also, I'm sorry if I'm not fluid in my movements. I usually am much more fluid in my controller skills. It's just been a while, so I'm getting my fingers back. You know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna talk about tobacco, though. A thing to tell you. Mel Gibson is an asshole. Minutes later, Trooper sets the table on fire. Yeah, Mel Gibson had a habit of getting drunk and screaming horrendous things into voicemail. Yeah. And the thing about that is, I remember somebody was defending Mel Gibson, and they're like, well, yeah, but everybody says, like, anti-Semitic, sexist, racist, and homophobic things when they're drunk. And I was like, no, they don't. They don't, actually. It was just like with what's-his-face? PewDiePie? They're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, he said the N-word when he was angry, but, like, everybody says the N-word when they're angry. It was like, no, they don't. Like, well, don't you say, like, slurs and whatnot when you're angry? And I was like, no, I don't, actually. That isn't a thing that I do. Never once have I, when I was angry, said a bunch of slurs. So, okay, this is where we need to go. Okay, we need to leave. Well, I think we can probably explore this room. We just need to go over here, and if we do that, we can probably save all these people. So let's loot this room, which is a... It's a shower. It's a shower room. Okay. We'll just loot the room and then go and save the people by putting the sedative out there. And I'm sad that we killed some people, but actually I didn't technically do it. It was my friends who hate killing people. Except that they were super into killing people. I'm gonna say. Okay, good. Let's go and save those people, shall we? By putting a, you know, oh, hold on. There are people over there. We're going to stealth our way into this room. Okay? Just like stealth our way. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any weapons that somebody's to do? I do not. I wish I did. Are there any in you are using a controller instead of... Oh, I am much better at a controller than I am with mouse and keyboard. If I can use a mouse and keyboard, then I use a mouse and keyboard. That is almost always a better option for me. I know all the hardcore gamers prefer their keyboard. I know it. And PC Master Race, mouse and keyboard, I know. But I very much am much... I am much more fluid with a controller than I am with a mouse and keyboard. And part of it has to do, I think, with WASD and also, like, there's like, because you've got mouse, WASD, and then also the arrow keys. There's a bunch of stuff going on there, and I'm just better on the controller than I am on the mouse and keyboard. I understand. Yeah. Nope, this is not Conan knows what I'm doing here. Oh. All intoxicants do is lower inhibitions. Using intoxication as excuse things is not good. Yeah, nothing like incentivizing getting drunk to speak your mind and then being excused. Yeah. Pulpa says, yeah, I've read some scary things of people defending Harry Potter again since the reboot. I noticed over just off the turf things, but her anti-Semitic tropes she uses, and also her like body shaming stuff she does, like her fat phobic stuff. Like there's just a lot in there. Okay, so they're hanging out, and we are. Okay, look here. Okay, so here's the door, but it's barred. So we have to get all the way down here and around, I think, to get in. But they are over there being what they're doing. So can we sneak past them and not kill them? Because I would really like to not kill them. Ooh, okay. If we can do that, I'm going to feel like I've accomplished something. I just need them. You know, if this were Hitman, I could throw like a tin can and they would then go over there and then I could sneak past them. We need some really good sneaking mechanics here. Dang it. Okay, well, this is going to be a little bit tricky, isn't it? I'm going to catch up on chat. Hold on. Invito Veritas, eyes rolls, yeah. I prefer mouse and keyboard just as I suck at a controller. Yeah, I'm actually... Vulpus is depends on the game. Yeah, there are games that are made for the keyboard. Like, I would, of course, would play World of Warcraft on a keyboard because you needed, like, 18,000 macros for that one, and it was all, you know, that was fine. But if I can, I prefer controller. Axe, controller, keyboard, whatever, I don't kink shame. Keyboard will kill wrist and fingers. I'm at the door, but it's barred. Yeah, it's barred. I can't get in. It's fine. They were really drunk. It's such a weird take in a country that thought prohibition was a good idea. It is a weird take. As long as you don't VR controller. There is kink shame, and then there is crime against nature. I wish I could. I've never tried the VR. I feel like I should at some point. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on. I did talk about energy drinks. And now we're at caffeine pills. I'm going to talk about... I know a streamer who makes his own caffeinated water from caffeine pills so they control the levels. Oh, interesting. I just don't like the feeling. I was gonna talk about that too. Poster. I feel like I've been here. Up the time. Yeah, I can't do that. Weeks ago, vocabulary. No, enter. Saturday stream. Basic role playing was there. I feel like I was PDF. Art. Congrats. Have I caught up on chat? Oh, Faulty has Everclear, catch up on chat, today's setup, gambler stuff, setup stuff, transvestite. Those are things. Topic, right? And then TikTok capitalism. I'm gonna just put that right there. Tobacco. Okay, so tobacco. Here's the thing I wanted to say about tobacco. Because I think it was Max was like, I hope you're not still chewing. So here's the thing. When I was in the army, lottie-dottie, everybody was enjoying their caffeine all the time. We're gonna just go over here. Nope. No, I don't want to fight them. Let's go over here. I'm gonna go over here. I don't want to have a fight. Oh gosh, there are more of them. We're just gonna go. Maybe I can just like, I have some kind of bad thing going on. Hold on. This is an experiment. Oh, I didn't save. Oh, I can't use while I'm in combat. This is terrible. I don't want to be, okay, hold on. I don't want to be fighting any of you. Hi, how are you? No. This is not what I want. This is not what I want. Here, get away from me. Oh gosh, excuse me. This is not what I wanted. I didn't, why is there a bug here? What is going on? Hi, we're not friends. Leave me alone. I'm out of practice, everybody. Also, I think I'm... Hi. What's wrong with you? No, it doesn't feel good. This is bad. Leave me alone.
I just wanted to make you smile.
No. Okay, can I... Hold on. I'm still in combat? No, I don't want to fight. No, I don't want to fight you all. Please come over here, y'all. Don't fight them. Why are you killing them? This is not what I wanted. I have to go over there and help you kill people. That was a lot of people. We're gonna kill all these people. Hey, come on over. I think some of them are still alive. Also, my armor's really damaged. Let's dispense the sedative gas. There are some of them still alive. Feel bad. Feel bad about that, everybody. Well, that happened. Oh, ooh. Let's see what you have to say. I'm gonna wait for the hard copy. When I get the PDF first, I screw up getting the hard copy. Oh, but at Chaosium, if you order the PDF, the hard copy will, if you order the hard copy, they will give you the PDF now, and then they will send you the hard copy. So like basically, I don't have to think about remembering to do both. When I was in, smoke breaks are something everyone allowed folks to do, so you didn't smoke, you often did get this amount. Barontor. I'm so mad right now. You remind me of a thing that was super irritating. People who were smokers would take a 10-minute break every hour, and I did not smoke, so I was like doing all the work all the time. It was so ridiculous. I'm a health inspector. What's the problem? This is roll of 300. Scabidac, I love it. Scabidac, you're great. I'm out for the evening. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Lone Coup. I will see you later. Video games are all about killing. Yeah. Person to trooper. I don't feel good. Trooper shoots them repeatedly. Well, then they felt better. Yeah, maybe 2 are still alive, says Max Ryder, I think maybe. Vulpus, Trooper, stop trying to pose your real world roles in a video game. Well, but it was my friends were shaming me about killing people. That's all. Volus says, how many boots grunts try to be edgy with a bad haircut like a Monk Tonsworth? Yeah, okay, mostly the people I knew were trying to grow their hair as long as possible without making it look like they were growing their hair as long as possible. So I had people who had like really like a lot of like gel to make it not people realize like how long their hair actually was. But they were all, the other two were all, I could have maybe ordered them to stay behind, but they were also stealth. I don't know. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to read this, then I'm going to tell you about tobacco. New employee orientation. Welcome, insert name. We're happy to have you as the new mechanic custodian at insert location. It is your responsibility to ensure your location of employment is tidy and works like a charm. Your duties include, but are not limited to, cleaning of all surfaces, regular maintenance of all machinery, restocking employees' break areas, maintenance of all electronic systems, keeping inventory of a location's operational item reserves, voluntary assistance for the lab's research as needed. That's not voluntary. Maintaining thorough documentation of your possible successor. For your possible successor. We know that sounds like a lot, but don't worry. Your predecessor has kept thorough documentation for your needs that you can find on this terminal. We hope you're excited to begin this most fulfilling career. And remember, whoa, 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 it's Rizzo's. That's a saying. Utility terminal. Training file corrupted. Please guess how to do your job to the best of your ability. It's bad, y'all. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. You couldn't get away with that in the Marines because we had to get a haircut every week. What they would do is they actually would get haircuts, right? But they would, like the sides and back were always shaved. This guy, Elvis, we called him. His name is not Elvis. We called him Elvis. He was like super goth. And he was able to like make the top of his head look like it was much shorter than it was. And so he looked like he had a regulation military haircut, but like on the weekends, he'd like gel it up and you're like, why do you look like Morrissey? Like what happened? Where did all your haircut? Like, so called him Elvis. He had this like massive amount of hair that just looked like he didn't have a lot of hair. It was interesting. Yeah. Please guess how to do your job. Please guess how to do your job to the best of your ability is why I quit my last job. I want you, I cannot stop hearing this as, whoa, 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 it's Lizzo. Lizzo's great. Let's see, first date, tobacco. Utility terminal. I've gotten 17 requests from the lab workers that I had to respond to and also managed to find time to sweep, mop, and buff this whole place. Remember buffing the floors in the army? Stripping, waxing, and buffing? Stripping, mopping, waxing, buffing. We did that all the time in the army. With the big buffer, remember? Like you remember, right? You'd go and like strip, you'd strip the floor. We mop first and then strip? Strip, then mop. Strip first, then mop, then wax, then buff, right? And you had the big machine. It was like a lawnmower with a circle that would then spin, so you'd like, shh. Those of you who know, you know. I was hoping that the employee how-to document would help with some of these machines that I've never seen before in my life, but guess what? The asshole left it completely blank. Gas hookup. I've got a request from Dr. Blossom to hook up the gas lines to some canisters that are mixed with a heavy sedative for dispersal in the lower labs. Luckily, I've got enough experience cleaning all the muck that builds up in the vents to get it all done in a couple of days. Still, I wonder what they're needing this for. I think they took the last of the Raptidons out of the lab last week. I guess the pheromone flavoring results weren't as promising as they'd hoped. These people. Experiment participation. Jackpot! Since I read that stupid orientation document, I've been hoping they'd ask me to volunteer for something, and here it is. I get to be a taste tester for the newest Spectrum flavor. I'm heading to the lab right after I fix the clog in the showers. So exciting. It's not exciting, it's bad for you. It's bad. Hey look, the door's barred. Let's unbar it. Now the door's open, and we killed a bunch of people. Let's just take their stuff then. I mean, since they're already dead, it's not really looting if they're dead. It's more like making parasite. That's bad. Making sure that pheromones. Did they create some kind of pheromone that, like, I feel like they must have made these parasites super giant. Is it Dr. Blossom's fault that this happened? I have questions. Look, I'm going to check my log to find out how many people are still alive, and I feel bad about it, and I should probably talk to my team, because they really didn't want to kill those people, although they did. You know, I mean, I'm just going to know that they did do a lot of killing. Let's repair all of our equipment, like catch up on chat. Okay. That's cool. Also, I was going to, break down this shovel. Yes. And also this shovel. I'm going to break down these shovels because I might get mods out of them. And get something good and also lower my encumbrance. I need to catch up on chat. Also, apparently I need to eat some food. Not in real life. that's everything. Did you hear stuff? Oh, you know what I was gonna do? Sorry, I just forgot. I wanted to check. I wanted to check the journal to find out how many people are alive. Well, I don't know how many people are alive. There were some. I saw some red triangles, so they're not all dead. I know that for the truths. Also, let's save, shall we? We have not saved in a while, and it would probably be bad if we didn't, you know? So, yeah. And I'm going to check to see what... Tobacco. I'm going to check to see what the chat has to say. See, there are people here who are knowing what I'm talking about. I thought this was actually the part where they went, you guessed wrong, we need discipline. Fun fact, my current job started with forklift driver clause, aka what not to do. Oh no. I used one of those big buffers once. It flung you around. Max Rider, were you like a super thin at the time? Broom, strip, mop, wax, buff. That's what it was. Broom, strip, mop, wax, buff. Laugh lively. I'm sorry, I came in and there's stripping going on? Yep. Hey, Lindy, how are you? It's so good to see you. The people there got a nice laugh, though. Hey, I used to work with strippers. They wanted to buff first, or they wouldn't make any muffiny. Wait, nope, wrong kind. Welcome to Concertia. That's a log entry for one of the people you just shot. Oops. Josh says, going out for lunch. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Thank you. Thanks for the fun. Thank you all. We've got like a good hour of gaming. I'm very excited. No troopers looting when they're dead. Otherwise, it's stealing. Oh. Yeah, no, Time of Gifts is right. I'm just making sure their legacy lives on. Or if we want to go like super European archaeology, we can just say that they are, it's for archaeological purposes. And we'll just put it in a museum. It's not grave robbing. That was a thing, right? That like NAGPRA changed that. But if they were Native Americans, you were allowed to rob their graves because it was like for anthropology. Yeah, I'm just going to note that. That was the whole thing. Volus. Take me down to a parasite city where the grass is green and the loot is plenty. Take me home. Max. Okay, off to walk the dogs before my own stream. I'll be back and leave your stream running. Thank you. Trooper, they're all dead. They said it was deadly neurotoxin. That would be awful, and then I'd have to talk to this Blossom person about that. Tobacco. Assortment of adhesive notes. It appears whoever works here uses adhesive notes to stay organized. A couple of the more intelligible notes. Rockwell visit to-dos. Confiscate badges. Done. Reprint badges. Pending. Change maintenance locks. Pending new locks. Order new locks. Done. Doesn't seem like efficient. Seems bad. Reevaluate lockdown procedure. Yeah. Updating docking authority with new lockdown procedure. Intake bet over under weekly. Bottles 5, 621, weapons 4. If you take away everybody's authorization before you fix the locks, then no one can get in. Gotta fix the locks first. Whoever this was saying, okay, cigarettes. So when I was in the army, la-di-da-di, everybody had the tobaccos all the time, right? And people were like, hey, do you smoke? And I was like, no. I'm like, well, you've got to try a cigarette. I was like, okay. So I tried it. I was like, this is gross. And then I didn't do it again. And then they were like, hey, we're all doing dipping tobacco. And I was like, that's cool for you. And they're like, have you done dipping tobacco? I was like, no. And they're like, well, you should try it. I was like, okay. So I tried it, and it was gross. I didn't like it. Tried it once. And then I tried chewing tobacco, specifically Lancaster, because I had some friends who were like, we think you'll like this one. And they were not wrong. Lancaster chewing tobacco was not the grossest. It was okay. Like I could eat it. Not eat it. You don't want to eat chewing tobacco. I could do that, and I wouldn't be super grossed out.
Gosh, that's clever.
Thanks. The only problem is, I remember thinking to myself, well, this is not super gross in terms of taste, but why would I allow myself to get addicted to chewing tobacco and then get cancer in my jaw? So then I didn't. Like, I was just like, and also have to spit all the time, and none of that seems fun either. This does not seem like a fun thing to do. Oh, hey, Music Box. So then I didn't. But I was like, oh, This one I could probably do more than once. But why? Do you know what I mean? But then, since I'd done chewing tobacco, dipping tobacco, and also cigarettes, then I remember we were in the army and they're like, oh, if you smoke this cigar, none of the mosquitoes will attack you. And I was like, okay. So I tried the cigar. I didn't like that either. And they're like, okay, about the cigarillo, no mosquitoes. So I tried that. I was like, I didn't like that either. That didn't taste good. So at that point in time, I had tried a cigarette, a cigar, a cigarillo, chewing tobacco, and dipping tobacco. So I tried like almost all the ways I could think of to experience tobacco. Didn't like really any of them. Then when I was in Germany, they were like, well, okay, you haven't tried snuff. And I was like, okay, I'll try snuff. So I tried snuff, and I didn't like that either because then I had tobacco up my nose. That didn't seem fun in any kind of a way. Not only did I not enjoy the experience of having the nicotine rush, but also I had tobacco up my nose, and I didn't like that, and I had to blow my nose all the time. And that just wasn't fun. So I have tried all the ways I can think of to interface with tobacco. Oh, no, wait, pipes. Everyone's like, pipes smell so good, right? Pipes smell so delicious. So I went and I got a pipe and like some really great cherry tobacco, and I tried the pipe and I was like, this does not taste like cherry. It tastes gross. So I've tried all the different styles of tobacco consumption I can think of except for a hookah, and I liked none of them. Only once. But I have, and I didn't like it. So now I know. That's all. Pizza Pronoun says, I miss setting spitting oil slicks. Oh, oh, I'm all caught up, right? Oh. The sweet taste of, yeah. So I have tried everything but hookah. Is what it was. That's the only one I haven't actually tried yet. But again, I have not liked any of the other other ways in which I have experienced tobacco. Yeah, so I've done, I remember clove cigarettes becoming big in the 90s too. I think there was a little bit of them in the late 80s as well. Smoking is something one should wear. Yes, a nice smoking, yeah. Inject nicotine straight into the bloodstream. I don't think I'd like that either. Because I don't like the, hey pizza, I don't like the feeling of nicotine in my body. It gets me all jittery, I don't like it. It makes me a little bit nauseated too. The only thing I've been tempted to smoke was clove cigarettes. Never have though. I imagine they probably don't smell good. Yeah, in the 80s too, Volpes, yeah. You'd probably like a hookah. It's got fun flavors. But does it give you the nicotine feeling? Because I don't like that feeling of nicotine. The armies of this time of gifts. The armies of the German emperor tried mosquitoes in medieval Italy, and it never ended well. Or the vape candy flavors. Yeah. Crow says, by the way, you do not actually have to try things you don't want to try. I suppose that's true. That's true. And now yes. But I remember being back, man, when I was in Germany, all the Germans would always try to force me to drink beer. All the time. They're like, you gotta drink beer. It's like, I don't like beer. They're like, oh, but you've only had American beer. American beer is crap. You should try this beer. This beer is great. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. I was like, yeah, that tastes like beer though. And I don't like it. And they're like, yeah, but American beers are so watered down. I was like, right. And this tastes more like beer. And I don't like the taste of beer. People always want you to, I'm just saying, when I was in the army all the time, they always want me to drink beer. I never wanted, when I was in Germany, always. They always wanted me to drink Dunkles, Hefeweizen all the time, and Helles, all this stuff. And I was like, I will take a sip. I don't like it. I was like, look, I don't like beer. Why do people have a hard time accepting that? Do you know what I mean? It's so weird. If I said, I'm an alcoholic and I can't drink beer, they'd be like, oh, okay. But if I said, I just don't like the taste of beer, they give me hassle. I just think that's really weird. How people will hassle you. It's like if I said, I'm allergic to this food, they'd be like, oh, okay. If I said, oh, I just don't like that food, they're like, oh, but you should try it. But you haven't. Like, I just think it's really weird that when I say I do not like this thing, people think it's still okay to pressure me to have the thing. Will you excuse me for a moment? There's a bug on the wall that I'm going to kill. Just one moment. Oh, there are wheels on this chair. I just killed a bug. We're fine. We just did that. We're good. Product Innovation Lab. Trial K08 has produced moderate results. The zero-calorie sweetener produces 36% of the amount of dopamine compared to popular cigarette brands. It is possible that this is as far as we can go without introducing substances that would categorize this as a tobacco product, and we're already towing the line as it is, speaking of tobacco. I'm interested in a trial with a larger set of subjects. However, our lab's resources are getting cut thanks to the new lab that's begun across the hall. Maybe we can offer it to our colleagues in the marketing lab, show them a thing or two regarding proper science. What is up with you people? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what is up with you people? We have some messages, also in chat. It depends how much Shuka for the nicotine feeling. How, Vulpus, how dare you give good advice, Krellin? Seltzers okay, I prefer a cider. I did try the hard root beer, which I think is just grog. That was okay. It depends on the food you're allergic to. Oh, that's true, says Scabinak. I'm allergic to wheat, but some people still have problems with it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Some people just don't believe you when you see when you're gluten intolerant. Lindy could talk about that, but I've heard people like, oh, people who say they have gluten allergies, that's not a real allergy. It was like, what is it to you? First off, it is a real allergy, but also, what's it to you? Why don't you just, like, what's it to you? That's weird. That's weird. There was an I'm the Asshole post on Reddit about this. Death on stream! Blood for the blood god! Feature has been killed. Right, I'm allergic to gluten means allergic to beer, and some people just don't get it. Yeah, I just, there was an I'm the Asshole post. We have more topics, by the way. And it was, this guy has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is allergic to gluten. And he didn't believe her. He thought that she was just lying. And so to prove her wrong, to prove that she wasn't really allergic to gluten, he started sneaking glutinous stuff into her non-glutinous food slowly over time to prove to her that like she was just making it up. And then she got really, really sick and, you know, dealt with it. And he's like, oh, so now I realize that she wasn't lying. Should I tell her that I did it? Am I the asshole? And everyone's like, you are an asshole. And really, you should tell her so that she can break up with you because you're awful. And so, yeah, I suppose with some food allergies, I think people get pretty weird about it. It's terrible, though. My friend Ann developed an allergy to apples in the last few years, and that is in all kinds of things. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's like absolute psychopath behavior. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is wrong with you? Absolutely tell your girlfriend you did that. 100% tell your girlfriend that you did that so she can break up with you. That is what you should do. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. Dr. Blossom, I apologize, but I wouldn't be doing the team justice if I didn't question the budget cuts this lab has seen. We've had to shelve 3 products and we're losing 2 more researchers. Honestly, whatever's being developed in the lab across the hall better be more addictive than Adrena time. I feel like these people have questionable ethics. Dr. Blossom, I apologize for our team's outburst at the product presentation. I assure you we didn't intentionally mean to scream in terror and assume the fetal position when Spectrum Brown and the slogan were unveiled. It has to be something the marketing lab did. I mean, for law's sake, they aren't even real scientists. Oh, this is the person. This is the person who's got their scientist situation going on. From L Blossom to Department Marketing, Department Product. Subject stopped immediately. I'm sending this message to both teams in the marketing and product labs. I do not know the extent of your squabbles, but they end here. If it weren't for the incredible projections Spectrum Brown shows, we'd be all out of work after that embarrassment at the presentation. I expect more from both departments. Dr. Blossom. Subject. What in the Arctic's blue blazes is going on? To all of the lab employees. What in blessed corporate law is all that commotion down there? I don't believe that rocket fuel combination distillery mixture was scheduled for another week. They do edible food, by the way. Could someone please inform me as to what that racket is all about? You better have a damn good reason for interrupting my meeting with the administrator. I expect a full explanation and apology within the next 15 minutes, or people are going to start losing their jobs. Well, they've all gone mad, is what happened. Well, here we are, everyone, hanging out. Just gonna do a quick look-see. I don't think there's anything down here for us in our little view bot, but might as well just, you know, give it a look. See what we can do. Maybe loot all of the things, including some bodies, because we did. Y'all, we finished the tobacco conversation. How is that for excitement? Anyone who messes with food or drink shouldn't be trusted. You need to find those Dilbert game marketer cards that were still on point. Oh, the Dilbert guy showed himself to be super sketch. I don't know if you've heard. Yeah, the Dilbert guy. Not great, everybody. Not great. Stream setup situation. That was the next topic that I wanted to talk to you about. Yes. Also, I really need food again. Yeah, oof on that one, Roller. Oh, okay, so a thing that I wanted to tell you. Wait, what is this? What is that? 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 That looks like a giant parasite. I'm just gonna point out that looks like the parasite that is infecting everyone and causing them to be in the space that they're in, which is a bad space. And I'm gonna just ask, are any of you surprised that it seems to be being cultivated in a lab by one of these corporations? I'm just asking if anyone here is surprised by this, because what I'm trying to tell you is I am not. I'm not surprised. So these are, let's see, there's a lab here we can investigate. We can investigate this room. We want to get, so we did all of these rooms. There's a room here we can investigate before we go upstairs. These things we should definitely investigate, which we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to do that right now. So sketchy. Dang parasites. Now you know where they get the brown. Oh, yeah. We are gonna... this is bad, everybody. This is not good. This is bad. This is bad. Yeah. Yeah, these are them, everybody. These are them, and they are not shrimp. And they... Oh, okay. Great. Okay, so let me tell you about feed parasites, folks. What could go wrong? What could go wrong indeed? So let me tell you about why it took me extra time to get started today, and how not throwing things out until I know I don't need them has helped me. And also how having ADHD and sometimes ordering the same thing more than once can also help me. So, when I first moved into this apartment back from being in Atlanta, if you remember, I was having some internet problems with the Ethernet. It was causing some trouble. And I had to call in IT to come and check out what's going on. I was like, hey, what's going on? And what had happened was that I was using a splitter to split my Ethernet signal to both my PS4 and the internet, because I need them both. And everything was working. Here's the thing, everything was working just fine, and then it stopped working. I was like, what's happening? Why are things not working? Why am I having trouble? So I called in IT, they come and investigate, and they're like, oh, you're not allowed to use a splitter. What happens is that you were using a splitter. I was like, yeah, but it was working. They're like, yeah, what happened probably is that you were using a splitter, everything was fine, and then somebody in IT saw that you were using a splitter and then cut you off. And I was like, oh, okay, what can we do about that? And they're like, well, can you just put something in a different room? And I was like, no, because I need to stream from my PS4, and and so what they did was they did two things. One, so we've got this in all the dorm rooms, right, have a plate that has like a phone jack, an Ethernet jack, and like a cable jack. The cable jack no longer works because the university no longer has cable. What they did was they turned the phone jack into an Ethernet jack. So I technically then had two Ethernet jacks. And they said, however, even though we've now turned the second jack into an Ethernet jack, you won't need it, because what we're going to do is just call IT to say that you're allowed to use a splitter. And I was like, okay. And so they called IT to say I was allowed to use a splitter. And then I did. And everything's been fine. I've been streaming all this time. It's been like almost a year and a half, right? Since I've been back, and it's been working. Everything was fine. Then, if you remember correctly, I had that epic problem with my computer that caused me to have to basically get a new computer and like reconstruct all my hard drive. And I actually think that might have been an OBS issue right now that I've been doing various explorations. Nonetheless, because like my old iMac Pro was a pretty beefy computer. I mean, it was like 5, 6, 7 years old. It was a couple years, like maybe 5 years old, but it was still pretty beefy. So it shouldn't have been having problems, but then it was. But anyway, I did not have the time, so I fixed it. And as you know, everything was fine. I got the new computer, was playing PS4, was all good. And then I had some problem. Like the last time I did the PS4, I had some problem. Something wasn't working. I was like, or it was either like, anyway, then I was playing Brinkwood, right? So I wasn't streaming on the PS4. And I think one of the last times I did it was not, one of the last times I streamed the PS4, I was having some trouble. And I was like, that's really weird. And so I was like, you know what? I figured it out. I was like, I think because of a new computer, it probably has a new, a new IP address or Mac. It has a new Mac address, right? So that probably means that the IT is seeing that as a new instance of splitting that is not on their whitelist, and so they blocked me. So I was like, oh man, they must have blocked me again from splitting my signal. So I need to contact them to get them to let me do it again. But they're so slow and terrible. It involves the IT person coming out to the apartment and da-da-da-da. So it's like, I actually just need to use that second jack and plug it in, plug the PS4 in directly from the second jack. But to do that, I need a 15-foot Ethernet cable. Who just has an extra 15-foot Ethernet cable lying around? I do. Because of course I do, because I don't throw away things unless I'm sure I'm not going to need them. Like, I finally got rid of, like, my old first-generation FireWire cables and all that, because I really do not need those anymore. But I was like, I do have a 15-foot cable. And I looked, and I had to go through all of my boxes, and I found my cable, plugged it in, got it all working, and here we are. It did take extra time because I had to go through my hoard of cables, but I found it. And I would like you to know, there were people, not you, who were like, Trooper, in person, you don't need all those cables. Why do you need more than like 2 Ethernet cables? You should just get rid of them. And I was like, no, I might need them for something. And I did. Ta-da! That's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to get caught up in chat. Yeah. Clearly nobody running this facility has ever seen any science fiction film ever made, right? Purpleberry pickerel are problematic. And they also sell... they also pick a peck of pickled peppers. They don't let you use dumb switches. They don't. But it's not automatic. It's a person who looks to see if there's anybody who's like doing a splitter, and then they block it. So I was actually just going like months without it happening, so I didn't realize it was gonna be a thing. Find the person who cut you off and convince them that splitters are fine, actually. Yes. Would they force you to use a hub? So the thing is, the hub is not so great for the Ethernet, right? So when I especially got like a special, basically an Ethernet, that splitter, that thing, because everything I read, the splitter is better for consistency for streaming than a hub. So I did that. I might also have an Ethernet hub, actually, as well, which I could try to see if that'll go. But it's okay, because I just busted out my extra cable. Right? So, in fact, you had either net checks. Yeah. Looks at his reel of Cat 5e cable. Thank you, Scabbynack. I appreciate you. Hey, Artie, how are you? I think I needed that shirt, Trooper, although in my case, no one would actually see it. But it also says that I need a save point. The Lawful Geek says, as someone with 4 Ethernet cables all around my apartment, I approve of keeping all the cables. Also, hi. Hey, the Lawful Geek, how are you? Right? Sometimes you need the cables. Probably you were approved for a splitter by MAC address. That's what I'm thinking. And so when you got a new computer, you got a different MAC address. And so then they just... But of course, it's not one of those things that's automatic, where if I just plug in automatically, it doesn't work. If that were the case, I would have known that was the problem the first time. But what happens is that somebody at the IT department at some point in time, months later, notices it and then cuts it off. So it took a while. Yes. The people don't play CRPGs, or they would know that you always keep crafting materials on hand. Boom. It's all good at my end, though. Missing our Saturday adventures. Me too. Me too. But, you know, we're probably going to come back, so. The Slug Lab. Hey, this is where baddest happens. So I talked about my internet journey. I talked about tobacco products. We've got masculinity coming up, but there was something else. Oh, the audio problems I've been having on stream that I had last 2 weeks for Traveler, the Gamblers. I tested with Lindy. Lindy came by and she was like, get into guest star with me. Let's work this out. I actually don't think it's me. I think it might actually be guest star. And so I worked through the exact order of steps that I think I need to do to not trigger guest star to be weird. It's like a very specific set of steps that I think if I do it the right way, and I don't think I wrote it down, but if I do it the right way, I should be fine. And if for you to know what the issue is, when you have guest star, you get individual links to each player so that somebody can you don't have to use Zoom, somebody can just drop out of the call and it will not mess up anything. But also I get individual audio feeds so I can adjust everybody's audio individually. So if one person is very low, I can boost them without boosting everybody. With Zoom, what you're capturing is desktop audio, so all of the sounds are coming into one audio, and so if you want to boost something, it boosts everything. And so I have got a really good, so using guest star or Video Ninja, but with Video Ninja, the quality is too high, so if not everybody's on Ethernet, it messes things up. It's really good though, I recommend it. But you just need to have people who are wired in. Anyhow, so what happened was, I'm using guest star, which is this new thing from Twitch, and it allows the individual feeds. So I have an audio, like a separate audio for each of the players. My audio is separate, and then I have the music separate, so everything's separated, which is great. Now, when it's working properly, the audio goes into OBS. Goes into OBS, but then the general sound of the audio just goes to the general, so I can hear it, right? So I can hear the sound in guest star through my general audio, and then the specific audio goes into OBS. But what happened was that the general audio stopped coming through. And I was like, why is that? It was working last season, and I didn't change my setup at all. What's going on? And what I did as a workaround was that in OBS, I took their audio feeds, and I made it monitor and output, so that I was hearing their feeds. I was monitoring what you all were hearing. So if they were talking and you could hear them, then I could hear them. The only problem is I do not allow you to hear them talking when we're in the starting scene. Like the starting and the break screen, starting, end, and break screen. You do not have access to their audio on those screens or mine, because I don't want you to hear them talking about like, oh, hey, where did we leave off? Wait, what was that rule? That kind of discussion, right? So there's no audio happening in those screens, but because I could only hear audio when you could hear audio, I could not hear the cast in the starting screen, the break screen, or the ending screen, which is when I need to talk to them about all the things that are going on. Like, this is where we left off, what do you need from me, what's going on? So I could no longer hear them, except when we were live. And in the screen where you could hear them. And that was not normal, and I was like, what is going on? Did I mess up routing? Except I hadn't changed my settings at all. And so I was trying to figure out how to do this, how to capture something in a different way. And after the stream was over, I had Lindy come up on stream, and I was like, Lindy, join the guest star. Let me see what I can figure out what I'm doing wrong. And Lindy joined the guest star, and everything was fine. Everything was fine. And I was like, that's weird. So I played around, and sometimes if I clicked out and clicked back in, then I couldn't hear anybody at all. And I was like, okay. And I noticed when I couldn't hear Lindy, audio wasn't actually coming out of guest star, the main guest star window, although it was still coming through on the side. So I was like, okay, I think this is guest star, not me. I do not think I've messed up routing in any way. I do not think it's me being incompetent with my audio routing, which I generally am actually not. I don't think it's that I need to reset my interface. I actually think it's Guest Star because it worked perfectly after the stream last night when I was testing with Lindy. So I have, although I did not technically write it down, I think I have a procedure. And so next week I'm going to try to see if I can get it to work so that I can hear them backstage. That is my current goal because I think it is not me. Just for the record. I wanted to tell you that because I thought you might be interested. Yes. Let's see. It's not you, it's them. Them being Guest Star. Yes, Artie, I believe that is the case. Be right! By the way, I'm going to sing for you. Trooper doesn't want us to hear the regular opening singing sessions. Sometimes there is singing. And then also that's usually like Greg is listening to something on his headphones. And we're like, what are you listening to? And he's like, I'm listening to Lady Marmalade. And we're like, oh yeah. And then we talk about how like Maya, in that, the one with Christina Aguilera, Pink, Maya, and Missy Elliott. No, Lil Kim. You know the one, right? The Lady Marmalade, the Moulin Rouge, the cover. And we talk about how A, Christina Aguilera was being a little bit too extra, too much. She had to tone it down. And B, Maya really, really held that song together. She was doing all the really complex harmonies. She really brought the song together, and everybody sleeps on her. Nobody gives her the credit because she's not doing like big, like pyrotechnics vocally, but she was like really important to that sound. That's what we talk about backstage sometimes. And then sometimes I torment them. You know. I talked about how I've done tobacco in every single means you can do it just once, except hookah, and I've not liked any of them. Yes. Let's see. Chromatic says, hey, did I miss the explanation as to why your latest streams have your volume so low compared to other players? It's so hard to hear you. I miss so much. Chromatic, you just have to tell me. If you let me know, then I can just boost the volume. Because it looks to me from, like, I look like I'm peaking right now, to be honest. I need to turn myself down because I look like I was peaking. So just let me know and I can up my volume. That's all. There's also another thing that's happened, which I need to do a thing about. So there is a, those of you who know your audio, there is a dance. You need to turn up the gain on your mic high enough that you're audible, but not so high that your noise floor raises and you get too much noise floor. And I currently have, this is a dynamic mic, which needs, and I've added a signal booster, which does not increase the noise flow, so that I have more volume, because dynamic mics are kind of low in volume in general. And I had everything set up perfectly, so that I had like good volume with a low noise floor, which then I could then boost in my plugins. But the gain for the mic is right next to the volume knob for the headset. And I was doing some kind of a stream or something, and the volume in my headset was too loud, so I turned down the volume, but I didn't hit the volume knob, I hit the gain for my mic, so my mic volume went way low. And so I turned it back up, but I didn't know what the bass volume was, so what I need to do actually is go in and rebalance my mic's volume so I can get it where it needs to go. Like, I'm actually still peaking a little bit. So my volume should be pretty decent right now. But if it's too low, just tell me and I can boost, because I've got volume for days. Just let me know. It looks to me like I'm pretty decent, but my volume on the RPG stream might just be a little bit too low, and I just can boost it. Just let me know. Just let me know. And I'll fix it. Yes, you are now. This is great, but the Traveler stream, I couldn't hear you. Really, you couldn't hear me at all on the Traveler stream. That's interesting. Okay. I will check my volume, because every scene in OBS, you have scenes, and this is my video game scene, and then I've got a Traveler scene, a Crash Jones scene. I've got a bunch of different scenes, and my volume on the Traveler scene might be a little bit too low or need a little boost. So let me know, and I'll fix it. Safe to dance? You have that Star Trek volume device, don't you? It looks like something from the original series. Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Today's good, but yes, last night I was low. I was low last night. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. Also, if that happens again, just send out a highlighted message, and I will be likely to see it, so that I can see it and know, and then I can boost. Thank you. What were our topics? We had stream stuff. I told you the 2 different stream stuff. I told you about the tobacco. We still have masculinity to talk about, but that's next. I feel like I had something else. You have over 100,000 checks. Ooh. Lab notes, our discovery. Slug lab. Finally finished our first set of experiments on those parasites we harvested from the infected would-be attraction animals, and the results have been... What the hell am I doing? Why am I taking this tone? Who's going to see this aside from the members of the research team? I barely need mention how beyond completely phenomenal today's find has been. Not only have we discovered why Harold, the system's saddest teacup canid, has his remarkable turnaround. Frankly, I'm amazed no one realized something was awry earlier. His cage was only about as large as he was. By the way, Myers, there goes your daily adreno injections theory, you buffoon. But we've also found something that will find me to a vice presidential position in no time. Remind me to devote a bench commemorating the Rizzo semi-industrial exploration team for their giving their lives to bring back the Iridanian gigaseous from the holy caves. I'll also be certain to devote an entire largement to myself for finding the birth site of the parasites and ordering experiments to start. This is Dr. Blossom. I've already been in talks with management about ideas for products that could utilize the parasite's joy-intensifying hormones. It's amazing that Slug hasn't looked deeper into this. We may have had to cede them the land, but seemingly they haven't disturbed our research site. Well, their oversight is Rizzo's immense benefit. Good job, me! Well, look at you, Dr. Blossom. Today's incident. Slug Lab. I'm sure some of you are still shaken by the events earlier today, by the course of science, but the course of science never did run smooth. The benefits of our research are easily worth the potential risks associated. Garcia would most certainly agree if she were still alive. I've talked to Administrator Ludovico about setting up some additional security measures in a case of another test subject breach. In the meantime, for the love of the architect, do not infect an individual test subject with more than one parasite. The frenetic joy will have to be enough, at least for now. I'm still looking into promotional means, but I think we'll find something soon. Some Rizzo's product engineers have discussed mass-producing the parasites and placing them in some kind of beverage to evenly distribute the joy-inducing hormones. Things still seem very promising. I look forward to the day when I can leave this backwater facility behind. You are a problem, Dr. Blossom, and I do not appreciate you. Lab notes, gas, and test subjects. Slug Lab. Blossom demanded that we help the engineering team produce a gas that would target the neural links of individuals infected by Iridanium gigaseous. Well, we did, and it was simple enough. Just isolated a particular cell type only found in the parasites and produced an enzyme that should shock them temporarily into stasis. But you better believe the second it came time to tell the administrator about it, she was the one who had developed the gas, and she was the one who had been primarily working with engineering to get everything together. She takes credit for the initial finding, even after Dr. Garcia's death, which was basically all Dr. Blossom's fault. She still somehow manages to find a way to spin things in her favor. Some of the other researchers were talking about altering the gas, not to target test subjects, but to target her. And for it not to render its target unconscious, but dead. I wouldn't write this down, but... Actually, you are writing it down? But I know Dr. Blossom doesn't read log entries that she didn't write. I tell you, their ideas are beginning to seem more and more appealing. I'm telling you. Dr. Blossom's a problem, and now I know it. I don't know what we're going to do about that, but we're going to do something. I don't know what. I don't like her. TikTok capitalism, thank you. That was it. 100.3k extra credit. Rizzo worms their way into the wine industry. It's so bad. Tequila. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's Roller. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Tequila. Benefits for whom, though, asks Artie Stack. Indeed. Roller says, I do remember watching a fantasy horror story that involved a worm that strikes back. TikTok capitalism. 2 Department Utility, subject cadaver removal. From Department Slug to Department Utility, subject cadaver removal. At your earliest convenience, the Slug Lab requires your sanitation services for cadaver removal. There are 2 bodies at present in the RR&D labs, 1 scientist and 1 test subject. Send a team to move the personnel corpse to the incinerator. After this, please send a hazard team to dispose of this test subject. For highly classified reasons, the corpse can emit certain chemical compounds that are extremely dangerous if mishandled. Please don't skimp on the protective gear. We'd hate to have to hire a separate utility team to pick up the bodies of yours. Good day. From L. Blossom. Subject, what in the Architect's Blue Blazes is going on? Okay. Yes, we read that one. I don't like her. I just thought I'd tell you that I'm not grooving on her, and I'm not liking her vibe. So, in case you were wondering, I'm not happy with her and her behavior and her casual disregard for the lives of the people that are in her, that she is this is bad leadership. I am going to tell you this thing. I was in the army this one time, right? Rupturing host. That sounds bad. So I was in the army this one time, right? And I left the army after 4 years, and I had become a sergeant. I made my E5 in 3, which is about the fastest you can make it. And I became a sergeant because I was, as they say in the army, high speed, low drag. I did my stuff, you know? And, where are we on the map right now? We are here. We just went through those labs. I want to check this room and then this room. Also, there's a computer terminal here, which we will also check. Oh, it's 3 p.m. Thank you. I'm playing till 3:30 because, you know. Oh, yes. Yes, Max Rider, you can buy passage on the ship. There are people just like Dr. Blossom at higher positions that are going to do to Dr. Blossom what they're doing to the workers, yeah. Bad leadership in a corporation? Impossible. Are there any good leaders in this game? No. Roller says, catch to the horror story is worm lived in your stomach. It was peaceful as long as you drink alcohol, yet alcohol makes it grow. Also, it gets restless when you're sober. Oof. Trooper, if you want to get through your topics, you probably need to get to them. Yes. So, there was this... Yes. Okay, so there was this post, right? It was a tweet. And the tweet was, this is why the government wants to shut down TikTok, because TikTok is telling revolutionary truths, right? And it was, they linked to this TikToker who was talking about grind culture. And the whole thing, hey, point of interest. The whole thing was basically, the TikToker was like, I quit my job 2 months ago, and I have been unemployed since then, and it's the greatest thing ever, and we have to realize that working is bad, and people should not be working. Really what we need is that nobody should be working at all. We should all just be able to pursue our interests and the things that we love, and just kind of do whatever we want to do and not work, and work is basically, you know, like, it's like basically like work is terrible, and no one should be working, and we should just make it so that nobody ever has to work. And we should just be able to, like, you know, write poetry, read, do whatever we want to do. And the Twitter person was like, see, this is like the things that capitalism doesn't want you to know, because capitalism wants you to work. And like, also, I feel like there was a point of interest in this workbench, right? And here's the thing about that, yeah? I thought to myself, So you don't want to work because capitalism says you have to work. You want to be able to just kind of like do your thing. But here's the thing. I presume you want food. Do you know what I mean? Like, I presume that while you are not working, you do want to have food and clothing and a house and electricity and plumbing. There are all sorts of and you want someone to pick up your garbage as well, right? So there's all sorts of work that does have to be done that is really nobody's joy. That if they're going to pursue whatever they want to do, they would not do those things. But those things do need to happen, or else we won't eat or have clothing or have houses. And so whenever I hear people say, oh, no one should ever have to work, it reminds me of when I was living in Germany. And there were these store laws where everything had to close at 6 p.m. during the week and 2 p.m. on Saturday, and be closed on Sunday completely, because it was really important for people not to work so they could spend time with their friends and family, except that restaurants were open. And so they wanted to make sure that nobody was working in the evening so you could spend time with your friends and family at restaurants, but then people who work at restaurants have to work, right? And so I was thinking about the ways in which that particular TikToker rubbed me the wrong way, because there's a kind of a privileged position, which is like, I just don't think I should have to work, right? And in their mind, nobody has to work, but they're not thinking about the kind of labor that has to get done regardless of the economic system that we live in, or else we won't have food. Do you know what I mean? And I was just thinking about how it rubbed me the wrong way. Because I was like, when you say nobody has to work, you're not thinking about farmers. You know what I mean? Like, you're not thinking about farmers. You're not thinking about garbage collectors, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that there's a blind spot that some people sometimes have in their theoretical revolutionary thinking, where they actually forget that there's a lot of work that just has to be done, that is not fun, that people don't do because they just enjoy it. You know what I mean? And that is not a capitalism thing. That's like an all-time situation. Yeah. Work is a pressure. Yeah. But those are jobs for poor brown people, Vulpes. That's the point, right? And Krellin was like, sounds like a rich. Somebody said that sounds like a rich white guy. Well, it's a TikTok influencer, right? It was like a TikToker who's making their money from TikTok. I don't know which one. I do too, Artie. No one should have to work 40 hours to be able to afford to live. Absolutely. There's work to be done, but it's way less than we currently do. I think it depends on for whom, though, right? Because certain of those jobs, people do have to work long hours. Or we could go in some other systems where we all have to become garbage workers for a while. Do you know what I mean? Like, first off, 40 is too much, though. Like, we could rearrange that. I've yet to understand many of Nightbot's objections. Me too. Roller says, my main belief on work will never be accepted. Amount of income reflects pressure. Low income should be low pressure. Oh. I have a thought about that, Roller, but I want to read Artie's comment. What they actually mean is, I and people like me shouldn't have to work, which is often what they mean. Now, we're not talking about the fact that we make people work way too long hours, right? Like, that is also a true statement. And we make people work way too long hours in ways that are inappropriate, and we should not be doing that. We're going to break this down. Give ourselves some extra gear while we're here, right? We also, not only do we... Oh, let's break this down. I should be selling this for money. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not gonna... Like, we do a lot of exploitation of people, which is just bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, we exploit a lot of people, especially people who do sort of working class work, and it's bad. But there's a difference between we make people work extra long hours that they should not be working in abusive and terrible environments, and like a TikTok being like, you know what's really great? No one should ever have to work ever. And I was like, yeah. And that the only reason why work is because capital's like, yeah. I'll tell you one of my pet peeves. It is a pet peeve of mine when people blame capitalism for things that are not capitalism's fault. There are things that are capitalism's fault because capitalism is gross. However, that people have to work at all is not unique to capitalism. People had to
They film
work
all their advertisements here. You know,
in...
if this whole place came crashing down, it'll make the colony a better place.
That's true. People had to work under feudalism. People had to work under communism. People had to work when they were in tribal systems. The minute we had surplus farming, people have had to work. You know what I mean? Now, I think that capitalism does a lot of these things really, really badly. And also inefficiently. And also in ways that are, although the United States, we do things super weird that are like weirdly moralistic, that has nothing to do with like what is most profitable. We're just really weird. I don't know what we're on about. I cannot tell you what that's about at all. But this idea that like, I was just like, yeah, I bet my parents would have still had to work though, because my parents were working class folks and they probably still had to work. Yeah, that's all. It was just one of those things where I feel like your take is too simplistic and it's ignoring a bunch of working class people. And I do not think you're thinking about them or taking them into account because, yeah. And I was like, I want us to have some better arguments is all I'm saying. And it felt like a bunch of privilege, by the way, at that moment, right? Not thinking about, basically a person who is using TikTok, who's wearing clothes that were made by people in sweatshops and who was using technology that was made by people in sweatshops, without those people working those jobs, which they need to be done better. If those people were like, yeah, we're just not going to work, he couldn't do his TikTok thing with saying that, no, we should be working. I was like, hold on a second. That's what I want to say about that. Well, farmers don't do a 40-hour week work. They do like 4 60-hour weeks, and then they get a few months off, yeah. And then they have a 100-hour week, and then they have 6 months off. That's also true. Because like the rhythm of work, right? Like the rhythm of work sort of shifts and changes. Absolutely, Krellin. The higher your income, the higher pressure to perform. Farmers, landowners, or agriculture workers. Oh, yeah, that's also, yeah. Yet, that is because I've witnessed participants in some stress occupation. Roller, I am, what you're saying it, I've not thought about it, but I'm feeling positively inclined towards that at the moment, but I had a thought. There's such vast inequalities between jobs is a lot of problems, as already, yeah. Look at what athletes are paid compared to what teachers are paid. Yeah, politics is about work and who doesn't have to do it. That's also true. Some people had to work far more under feudalism. That's also true. I imagine athletes need to pay out of pocket for everything, travel to games, therapy. What's tricky about athletes is, and I'm going to say this about athletes because I'm going to defend athletes' pay for a second, but only partially, not with my full chest. Lulz, if I may say so, your marketing people are scary. Me and the other engineers are going to want 100 bits extra each to keep quiet about this. Anyway, the beds are hooked up with the equipment you requested. Should work fine, sensing when those poor product bastards are in REM sleep. Once they are, the Spectrum Brown slogan plays on repeat at 1/4 of a decibel, with that recording of people being torn apart by Kane is on a loop in the background. Extreme morbid curiosity bids that I ask exactly how you procured a recording of so realistic a nature. Self-preservation over outpaces that. Just pay me so I can destroy my memories of this interaction with ample application of Spectrum. Nobody of consequence. How creepy is this place? Look, this is not a surprise. You all know this place is creepy. I am very disturbed by this place. What I'm gonna, so we've been there, we've been all around the world. We're gonna hit that other room because we can. So the thing about athletes, and yes, right. So Krellin says athletes are grossly underpaid compared to the revenue their labor produces. Thank you. That was the point I was going to go to. And the NCAA athletes are basically slaves. Blue Pointer, I hope we can blow this up. That would be great. I would really appreciate the ability to just blow this place up, like a lot. So this is the thing, right? A lot of athletes, well, athletes are underpaid compared to the wealth their labor generates. Many of them have and actually quite a few of them are not paid very well. Like maybe the star quarterback the star quarterback might be paid really well, but a lot of those linebackers are not, right? They're not paid particularly well at all. And many of those football players, because that job is a job that is going to ruin your body, do not have very long careers. So they might get paid like something that seems really great for 2 years, and then they can no longer play. They have no retirement. They have no health insurance, and they've got chronic injuries. Wow. That are going to last the rest of their lives, and they probably are going to have a hard time getting any other jobs. And the owner of that team will just get a new one and continue to make huge amounts of money, right? So I think a lot of athletes, and NCAA athletes, who are not allowed to get paid at all, right? They cannot get anything. They can't even get a free pair of shoes, but yet they're giving up their bodies for, and like the coach makes $10 million a year. I do not make $10 million a year, right? And oh, y'all, look at this place. In so many of these spots, right? In so many states, the highest paid state worker in so many of these places is a football coach who makes like $10 million. $10 million. Way more than any teacher there makes. And the athletes themselves make $0. They can't get anything, and most of them are never going to go and become professional athletes because they're going to get their bodies ruined in college, and they're often not even allowed to have a real college education. And many of these athletes want to go and get a good college education, but their coaches won't let them. They'll say, no, you can't be pre-med. You can't take those hard classes because it'll take time away from practice, and you can't take any classes during this time frame or this time frame. And so they end up giving them kind of like bogus majors very often, even if the athletes don't want that. Even if the athletes really want a good education, they're often not allowed to get them because football is the priority. And if they get injured, they lose their scholarship and then they get kicked out of college. Like, it's like athletes, we might look to athletes and be like, oh, look at all that, but they're exploited too. Do you know what I mean? And they have very short careers. Also, musicians are exploited. A lot of people and that, by the way, is what capitalism does. Capitalism likes to put forward certain people who are rags to riches stories and hold them up as like what rich people are. Like, oh, the rich person is that poor kid who became a football star. You can do that too, like the lottery. But also, they use them to make you get mad at them. They're like, why did Madonna make so much money last year when she makes a fraction of what Sony makes? You know what I mean? Why did that football player make so much money last year when that football player makes a fraction of what the coach makes? So there's a way in which we are sort of encouraged to attack labor, just labor that has a lot of sparkles on it, and not think about the exploitation of that labor. That is messed up. Sulfur-soaked top hat. This top hat once belonged to Captain Phazon of Byzantium, last seen on Terran Monarch, standing much too close to the edge of a sulfur pit. This pungent accessory should serve as a reminder of the many terrible dangers found on Monarch, and a further example of why no self-respecting Halcyonite should ever visit. I see. Okay. Interesting. Well, let's pick up these flywheels, pick up all of this stuff, and then I'm gonna rechat. I'm gonna rechat. Yeah, so I now also they still make huge amounts of money, right? But sometimes not in ways that we think. Also, we often imagine people make huge amounts of money in ways that they don't. For example, a lot of those athletes that make huge amounts of money, let's say, not the coaches, but the athletes, have to give huge percentages of that money away to their to all sorts of things, right? They've got to give it to trainers, they've got to give it to their managers, to their blah 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 blah. And like somebody takes 10% there, 10% there, 10% there, 10% there, then all of a sudden they are not making the huge amounts of money that, okay, that's interesting, that we think they're making. You know what I mean? But of course, part of these thoughts that I'm having come from the fact that I was doing research for some 1920s Call of Cthulhu games way back in the day. And part of that involved me reading the New York Times from the 1920s, just like going through the newspaper. And part of that was reading, because I like to use newspapers for adventure ideas. part of that was me reading the society pages, and the society pages of the 1920s did not hide inherited wealth, right? You look at the society pages and it was all like, Mr. Vanderbilt has this New York State Supreme Court judge at the party for his daughter's coming out party, right? And like, it was all like lots and lots of inherited wealth, lots of like basically American aristocracy who you clearly 100% can never be like. But those kinds of rich people have stopped being as visible. They still exist. They're just hiding themselves. And instead of looking at them, we look at, you know, Jenny from the block or whomever, right? And it feels to me very convenient that the only super rich people that we see in all these reality shows, right, are often people who did not start off rich, who do not have a generational wealth. And that sort of element we sort of obscure. So, just things that I noted. Just things that I noted. Also, I suspect chat is saying really cool things, and I'm going to look to see what you have to say. Right.
Oh my law. It's you. Wait.
What?
What do you think you are?
Wait!
What was that? Boss, we gotta move.
Somebody just killed Dr. Blossom. Somebody just killed Dr. Blossom. We heard it. I'm gonna catch up on chat. Okay. Artie's like, I should have said professional athletes, yeah. In RZA terms, liquidate. Okay, well, I will see you later, Max. Oh yeah, I just heard about the new minor league contract, which increases the pay rates for the previous $4 an hour. Oh yeah. Yeah, minor league players get really exploited. It's real bad. Leagues always seem to claim X gets X $1 million contract. That has to go to something, because none of them live in castles. Yeah. Oh, Voltio says combat sports are bad for this too. Combat sports are real bad for this. It's a lot of exploitation, you know what I mean? Artie says, yeah, I guess I was thinking the industry rather than the individual, which is another issue. Yes, but see, Artie, they want you to think about the individual, not the industry. We do this all the time. We always want to sort of focus on the individuals and not the systems, but it's the systems that are doing this, you know what I mean? That's how they get you. Artie says, just imagine if we treated things like education or healthcare the same way things like professional sports. Actually, I think it would be bad. It would be real bad because it's already sort of happening in its own way. Weren't you going to do that? Yeah, maybe. Oh no, not Dr. Blossom. Blossom is dead. Must be Mojo Jojo. Surprised that didn't happen a long time ago. Me too. Trooper 5 minutes. Yeah, I'll get some masculinity on Thursday. Is that bad? Yeah. So, one half rooting for surgeons and hoping the enemy team loses and gets hosed on the new season. DSP says, Crazy Rich Asians is about how the really, really rich spend a lot of money and influence on being invisible. Yep. And the flagrantly wealthy are the nouveau riche and looked down upon by the really uber rich. Yep. It's nominally about Singapore, but it's true way more broadly than that. Yeah. And the only person I know who didn't like the book is someone who was in that class of so rich they want to be invisible. Aww. Yes. Oh, you know that show Gossip Girl? We're kind of in trouble, right? The show Gossip Girl, they made a reality show that was about they did a reality show that was basically Upper East Side rich high schoolers. And what was really interesting, can I pick this? What was interesting is that the show was canceled, of course. But a bunch of people who were anonymous, who were actually super rich Upper East Siders and also high school students, there was a story in the New York Times where these people who were anonymous were like, yeah, none of those people in that show are actually super rich Upper East Siders, Upper West Side, Upper East Side, Upper West Side, Upper West Siders. Because if they were, they wouldn't be on that show. Those are all basically posers who do not go to our parties. And I thought that was very interesting because I think that's how the really rich work nowadays. Nowadays, the really, really rich obscure themselves and hide themselves. Who ate my lunch? Hydrogen peroxide. Do you all know about the Blue Book? Do you all know about that? We're going to talk about masculinity on Thursday. That's what we're going to do. Because I want to talk to you about also, everybody here who interfaces with masculinity, I think will find this conversation interesting. Yes, it's about learning masculinity and grace, and it's about a lot of things. And I think if you interface with masculinity in any kind of a way, positive or negative, willingly or unwillingly, imposed upon you or not imposed upon you, I think you might find it interesting. So let's see, what is this? Oh, that's where we need to go. Where did we come from? Where did we go? Where did we come? We came from here. This room. We just went in. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I am going to finish this building before we end this game. Because if I can finish this building, then I will feel good about my life. So we're gonna go through this door to our right. Okay. Let Jesse eat something before you want to become... Yeah, I need to do that. I definitely would know if I suddenly got ridiculously rich. I definitely wouldn't want it publicly known. The really rich would have sent their butlers and maids for the show. The only blue book you know is Kelly. Oh, so there's this blue book, right? Doesn't even everyone have to interface with masculinity, even if willing to reject it or intentionally be non-masculine? Everybody can interface with masculinity, is what I would say, but not everybody does. But everybody can. But I mean, some people have to date masculinity, which is frustrating for them. But I suppose we should go down this hallway, maybe? But there was something I wanted to tell you. I was just in a thought. Where are we? I'm going to go this way and see where this is going to lead us. Because I don't think we've been this way before, right? And I think this is how we're going to get where we...
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Okay. Hold on, everybody. Let's analyze this.
Body heat readings indicate that the culprit was just here mere moments earlier in the timeline.
Oh! Examine the grate!
Looks like a standard ventilation shaft to me. Somebody around my size could have crawled in. Wouldn't
Absolutely.
have been comfortable or, clean. Ventilation shafts usually turn into sprat nests.
Blue book. Blue book is important. There's a cut wire in the box. Someone wanted the power to cut to something, but you're not quite sure what. Okay.
See that red wire? Whoever
Yes?
cut that wire was trying to disrupt the circuit. They could have sealed the lab doors temporarily. At least until the failsafes kicked in.
Interesting. Also, I'm really glad you're here, Parvati, because you know stuff. It's really good you're here. Thank you for being here. Parvati, you are goals. Let's go down this way. Okay, the blue book. I need to tell you this is important. Or it's at least interesting. Weird. It's almost like the super rich are realizing that we don't actually idolize them or consider them as gods, and that we really want them to suffer for hoarding their means to improve the world. Yes. Also, some people to date masculinity is a great sentence. Also, 329. Yes. Okay, so there's a thing called the blue book. I don't know if it's still being...
Blossom was a horrible person, but she was going to cooperate with you. Somebody wanted to keep her quiet.
That is correct. Somebody wants us not to know this secret. By the way, we're basically done with this building.
Confirmed. This person is most definitely dead.
I know.
Recently, they were still alive.
I know. Let's examine the body. You sure you heard gunshots earlier, yet this victim's loss of blood is oddly minimal. Oh. Oh. Interesting. Interesting. Blue book. Okay, so after much thought, you're unable to deduce any further details. Although you distinctly remember hearing gunshots in the area, you don't see any bullet casings. Okay. Okay. Whoever Dr. Blossom confronted over the intercom, they dispatched her and all 4 of these scientists without much resistance. Means they must be well trained, some kind of sharpshooter or adventurer, or Halcyon Helen.
Place to die. What do you think happened to her?
I think Halcyon Helen may not actually be dead. Maybe she had a twin that she used and 5 kills in and out before we could catch a glimpse of the culprit. I'd expect more blood. Pretty sure they're dead. Whoever did this was evil. Yet, strange, I heard gunshots in the recon, but I didn't see casings. Okay, 5 kills.
I don't get it. If the killer's some type of dissident, they'd want to make a bloody mess. Set an example. Maybe these lab coats weren't the real target.
I am appreciating having this team here with me right now. You know, I don't have them with me all the time, but I do appreciate them having it with me because they are quite helpful. We're also going to invest. Look, we're probably going to go to like maybe 45 because we gotta figure out what's going on.
The organic matter that comprises this lab worker
Blue book.
died at a similar time and of similar circumstance as the other corpses already scanned.
Interesting. Okay, all right. So how did they die? What was taken? All right, Blue Book. I'm going to tell you right now. So there's a thing. I cannot imagine it still being published.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Oh, what is this? I cannot imagine it's still published because that would be odd.
The organic
But-
matter that comprises this lab worker died at a similar time and of similar circumstance as the other corpses already scanned.
Okay. So, the Blue Book. There was this thing that existed. I don't know if it still does exist. Maybe it does. I don't know. So there was this thing. It's called the Blue Book. And it is a listing of really important rich people. Their houses, which country clubs they belong to, and like the address, their address, which country clubs they belong to, and also their summer addresses. And to be involved in this, to be included in this book is a really big deal. And it is very difficult to get in this Blue Book. And very, very few people west of the Rockies are in the Blue Book, only one or two. And you can't just be rich to get into the Blue Book. You actually have to have a certain kind of lineage, right? So most of the people who are in the Blue Book are basically Southern aristocracy or Northern aristocracies, like a lot of people from New York, Virginia, that kind of a thing. Who've been like they're those kind of people, right? But it's a book that was published every year with the names and addresses, summer home and winter home, and the country clubs of all these super rich people. They're the people who go to debutante balls, right? Have those kinds of things. And they just had a book with all their names and addresses in it. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I bet they don't have that anymore. I mean, maybe they do, but like, do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying?
Not gonna... Oh, whoops. There it is. Okay. This is Dr. Blossom. Iridanium gigaseous slug research report 1. Subject, a bunch of slugs. Ugh. These things may well be Rizzo's ticket to the top of the board. But at the end of the day, they still look like my brother would if he ever stopped wearing that damn toupee. Initially found these little bastards suckling on the hairy undersides of a teacup canid. Much like my brother, who works for the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve. The backstabber. Suffice it to say that these things are parasites. The canid didn't seem to mind, but it's almost as stupid as my research staff. Good stuff. Oh, whoops. Got some spectrum on the dissection subject. It's fine. Yeah, I think I see a couple sacs in the worm. Might secrete enzymes or poison or something. We'll figure it out later. Starting to see double, so I'm going to switch to working on the Gatling. Almost got the spectrum lock done.
Yo, everybody here's a problem. Anyhow, it's like, it's like a hit list for rich people. I think this was like, these books came from a time, and here's the thing, they're like, I think like Bill Gates is not in the book, right? There are people who got really, like basically nouveau riche, who really wanted to be in the Blue Book, but they can't be in the Blue Book. You can't just buy your way into the Blue Book. You have to have pedigree to, quote, axe a million, right? And yeah, so, hello, exciting weapon. Let's open you up. Collect all variants of Spectrum vodka. Money can't buy class. Yep. I only remember the red books that 2600 Club hackers claim to exist. Yeah, no, it was, they would publish them. I think you can probably find some from the 20s around, you know? And I just think this is from a time period where rich people were like pedigree, hereditary rich people were totally fine with everybody knowing that they're pedigree, hereditary rich people. I just don't think we're in that space. Let's open this case, shall we? Oh, required. Oh, I need to get one more variant of Spectrum vodka. Oh, I have 7 of the 8 Spectrum vodkas, but not all of them. Oh, okay. The Gatling taunts me from behind its glass cage. The infernal void damn thing refuses to work, and I know the exact cause. It's me. Why am I wired like this? Why? Whenever I try to fiddle with the internals sober, I broke parts off, or connections failed to fire, or pieces stuck out of the casing, and shorted out of their other components. So of course the solution was obvious. Get at least a little plastered prior to the work period. Every work period. When I'm relaxed, my hands don't shake, and it's so much easier to see where things should fit, or how to bridge certain connections. The problem, of course, is that I also get artistic. Why should a weapon work on mechanics alone? Why shouldn't you have to say, slot one of every single fucking kind of Spectrum vodka into the thing before it will fire for the first time? I don't even know if it's tied to the weapon's internals or if it's some kind of lock, but it seems like it should fire but it absolutely will not. I have to get one of every kind of Spectrum, including black. I can only hope the storage warehouse has had a recent shipment of the entire Spectrum, or all this work will have been for nothing. I have to be the dumbest genius on this side of Halcyon. Well, we all know what we need to do. We need to get a little bit more Spectrum vodka. And also, note this. Seems sort of interesting. And also, by the way, we're going to be able to say that we finished this building in our stream. Yes. So is Blossom here? That's a good question. Money's not the same thing as wealth. That is true. Money is not the same thing as wealth. Artie says, sounds like the people that are obsessed with obtaining the best barony, a lost barony or title, something similar. Yes, actually. Also, this thing about money versus wealth, there's the GURPS thing to tell you. View download confirmation. What is this? Oh, error file deleted. Was successfully downloaded to external data cartridge. Messages. Something strange is happening here. Administrator Ludovico. Subject. Halcyon Helen's lab tour. Apologies for the late notice, but Ms. Bellamy has requested a tour of the facilities while she is visiting Eridanos as Halcyon Helen. Please prepare for her arrival in the morning. From Blossom, note to self. Well, Leora, you did it again. At long last, you located a bottle of Spectrum Black hidden in a crevice of musty shelf space in the storage warehouse last night. That much closer to finally getting the Spectrum Gatling to work. And what happened? You got all the way back to the water tower before running into a group of primals already diverting themselves with fruits of the fermented variety. One bad blackout later, and here you are, covered in primal vomit and without the Spectrum Black. Get it together. So you've got to go to the water tower. To the department, all RR&D labs, employees, subject, what in the blue blaze is going on? We've read that one because she sent that to everybody, obviously. Files. Error file deleted. We'll hack. Labs terminal. Tests involving the parasite Eridanium Gigasius, colloquially dubbed slugs, have produced astounding results, even when compared against our most promising methods of producing a brain chemical dependency. The pheromone that Eridanium Gigasius secretes produces dopamine more efficiently than anything on record. Further tests will continue researching how much of the compound we can introduce to subjects and observe the effects. Despite our less than ideal presentation to administration, the product impressed for 2 main reasons. As mentioned before, this product will produce that boozy, feel-good stimulus like no other, but more importantly, the pheromone's makeup is completely unique, which means there are no regulations surrounding its classification. The idea of a completely addictive product with 0 laws surrounding it would certainly justify any means. And all of you all are
We gotta hunt this killer down, boss. They're not gonna stop until we do.
That sounds true. Also, however, I'm going to end the stream like in a minute because it feels like we are. Nope, there she is. There is our Dr. Blossom. She is indeed dead. Somebody killed her, but I don't see a bullet hole or casing. So my suspicion is that the gunshot was from the people here, right? It was the them were trying to protect themselves from the killer, but also she knew who the killer was. So I suspect the killer's Halcyon Helen. This is what I suspect. Can I prove it? No. Do I need some Spectrum vodka? Yes. Is there any Spectrum vodka here to purchase? It looks like the answer is no. So, did you hear that jingle? Rizzo's puts the us in gelatinous. By the way, this is where we're going to end our stream. But as you know, I always have to end the stream facing the direction that I have to go so that I know when we pick up next week where we're headed. Otherwise, you know. Yeah, Exalted deals with wealth, not money. Yeah, sounds like a good spot too. Rizzo cubes, they contain hidden treasures. Who could possibly want this person dead? So, this is really interesting because GURPS has wealth as an advantage or disadvantage, but wealth is not the same thing as money. And like if you go and you do an adventure and you get $1 million, it does not increase your wealth rating.
Unscheduled pollination cycle is about to commence.
What?
Please evacuate the orchards at
What?
this time.
What?
Releasing the mosquitoes for
What?
pollination.
What?
Cycle is now in progress.
What?
I don't really know what a wasp-keto is, but I think we're about to get educated in a hurry.
This is bad. Wasp-ketos? Oh no! Right now, for the record, I'm going to eat something so that I'm and then I am going to save and then quit because that's what we're gonna do. That is our life at this moment, and eat some pre-sliced bread, and then we're gonna save the game, and then I'm gonna go. And it was 3:45, just like I said. Woohoo! Overwrite the data. Yes. Head over to chat. Go to the main setting. I'm going to quit. I accept it. Awesome. Okay, good. Here we are. So lovely. I'm good. So, yeah. So here's the thing, right? In GURPS, if you get $1 million, you don't necessarily increase your wealth at all. In order to increase your wealth, which is an advantage, you have to spend points to increase your wealth level. And there are people who are players who are like, that's unrealistic. I just basically want free advantages. That's what they want. Now, your GM could actually just give you the advantage, as a reward, rather than XP. But there are a lot of people who are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Just like if I get $1 million, I should automatically increase my wealth level for free without having to pay for it. And of course, GURPS is a point-buy system, so you have to pay for it. But also, as people point out, there are a lot of people who are very, very poor. They win the lottery, and then within a year, they're poor again. Because wealth is actually about knowing financial planners and credit rating and who knows you and who doesn't know you. Right? Wealth is not money, right? Wealth is all of those things that enable you to maintain money. Or let's say you're some kid, like maybe you're just a regular person. You're a person and your dad owns a real estate empire in New York State. And you want to become a real estate magnate yourself by opening a hotel. And so you go to your dad and you say, Dad, can I get a loan of $1 million so I can make a hotel that I will call the Trump Hotel? And then you do. And then, right, so there's a way in which Trump had wealth even before he had money, if you know what I mean. And so actually I think it's really interesting to separate money from wealth, or what they do in Call of Cthulhu credit rating, right? Because those things actually are different. Yes. Krellin's like, I'm sorry, Trooper. I cannot imagine myself as an orange person. That's fair. That's fair. Hawkeye's saying, rich is having money. Wealth is knowing how to use it properly. Yes. Also, thank you all for being here. It was so lovely being with you all, hanging out in the foxhole. It's been a while. I'm glad to be back. I'm going to tell you something else. 3 weeks of classes left. In 3 weeks, my classes are done. And I will be getting way more sleep. I mean, I've got to do finals, right, and grading and all that kind of stuff. But I'll be doing a lot more writing on my book that I need to do. And also, I would like to do... I'm going to be planning for my summer streams. What kind of things I get to do in the summer. Traveler is going to probably keep going until July. It's probably when we'll end this season, season 2. But once the summer hits, I might be able to add, you know, some surprise streams, some short shots. There are a couple things that I really want to do. By the way, bye-bye, friend. Woot woot in the other classes. Thank you. And I really enjoyed this. You can find me, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's Eastern, there's no Witcher, but Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern over on Wandering DM's channel. We'll be doing Montreal by Night, as my character has less and less will and will resist that frenzy less, which will mean doing terrible things, which will mean losing more humanity. Let's watch that go. There's something really ironic that I enjoy about Lucky, who is in many ways the kindest and most hopeful and humane vampire because of certain things about his past, right? And also least self-hating vampire. He really, like, he was fine being the one that is going to probably just be lost to humanity, lost and the beast, and the one who doesn't actually think of what is happening in where he's coming from. He does not have a beast inside of him. He will use that terminology because that's what everybody else uses, but in his mind, he does not have a beast. He has actually something else. And for a person who had a whole cosmology that is based on some other kind of a thing, wherein what he had was a gift. It was a difficult gift that you had to manage, and it was a little bit tricky, but that what it was is enabled to do good things for other people, right? That having the what people will call the beast, but for him is something different, was an opportunity, a gift, a responsibility to take care of others, right? That you give up your life and take in this other thing in order to protect and help others. Whereas the other folks are Azimish, people call them Azimish and an assassin, right? He's at Humanity 4 and they are not. They think they're still at 6. And I imagine it's going to be I mean, it's harder to lose humanity once you get low enough, but he's got he only has 2 will left, and he's got a -2 will penalty to resist Fury Frenzy. And Bruja, he's not really Bruja, but we'll just call him a Bruja for now. Bruja Frenzy at being insulted. So I feel like this may be my very first vampire character who dies due to loss of humanity. We'll see. The dice will tell us that story. But that's on Monday, so come and find out. And then, of course, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, here, I will be playing Disco Elysium. Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, here, I will be doing The Gamblers, our Traveler Pirates of Drynix campaign. And then Saturday noon, here again. And then that Sunday, we'll be doing more Witcher. Only 3 episodes left. And thank you for being here. I'm not going to raid because I'm going to go get food. And it is, you know what I should raid? I should raid. I'm going to raid because I never raid. And Saturdays is my raid day. So I'm going to just do a quick look to see who we can raid to, just to say hey. And thank you. Oh, follow me on all my socials, right? We've got we're gonna raid Peachy Pixel because Peachy Pixel had a sad tweet, and we're gonna raid them and make them feel better. You can find me at Academic Foxhole on Twitter, and also we're gonna raid Peachy. You know my socials. Here they are. Find me in all the places. And also give Peachy some love, and I will catch you all on the flip side. And just give some love to Peachy, because Peachy could use it right about now. All right, everybody. Catch you all on the flip side. Love you all. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.